Already.
Yes, yes, yes. What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade, formerly known as the Midday Show. That right there is your girl Adara, and I'm Sharif. And as we usually do, we're going to wait for everyone to come on over from the other stream. We already have a couple early birds, baby. I see you, Vin. I see you. I also see the crazy Stitch lady. Is that Ram Ram? Or, yeah, there she is. She's running off after dropping hotlines. Hello, Ram Ram. We got Juan. We got Adara as well. Yes, Wrath Kid. I see you. Easy for all shoppers. One of the OGs in the chat, Charles Darwin. Shout out to you, sir. Pitchbull. Hello. Good morning. FFTB, Trader Forever, Jacko, we got Step, we got Ryan MCR, we got Chris, Ronaldo as well. There we go. Solo, Christo, Hamster 1, CompuCare, oh boy, Trader, shout out to the Obe, the one, the Canobe, and we have a new name for Adam. He's no longer known as Big Adam DeLuce. He's now Arsenal Adam. Shout out to Arsenal Adam, baby. The Piper, we got Marjune, Stock Up. We got the Gauntlet. Good morning, everybody, and good morning, Adara.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm all right. Can't complain.
Nice.
You know, alive, breathing. Everything's good.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what matters. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any trades right now. I was looking at this NVIDIA, and I was way too awfully about it. I should have been looking around at 887. Clearly, that opportunity is come and gone. However, what we do at this made-up line that I'm drawing, no, I'm joking. I've just started the thing where I start drawing lines at areas that I think might be interesting for ranges. This line, we'll have to see what we do here because I like that area because look at all this top and turn we had earlier. That could be an area of interest to me. If we pull back at 989, don't mind if I do. But pulling back will be the whole topic of discussion this whole week. We have a lot of very interesting Fibonacci-related pullbacks to talk about today, especially ahead of, and I love how this works out, the Fibonacci Princess making her appearance on Sean's market recap this evening. But yeah, good morning, everybody. Happy to be here. Let's see what the market does. Did you have any? I see some triangles.
You see triangles, and surprise, surprise, Adara, it's on NVDL. Traded this one well today, trading it well yesterday, sorry, trading it well so far. Give me time, I can screw that up. No, in all seriousness though, tried to take the hold of the low end of the area there on NVIDIA. It's been bouncing off for whatever reason, 885s, trying to find an equivalency here for a level on NVDL. But I gotta tell you, this is my only trade on the day. I don't have a good read on these markets. I don't have levels that I like specifically for anything. Yesterday, I did well with dip trading, and I was going to continue with that, but I don't like these levels, so we'll wait and see if maybe something comes in. There's one possible level here that I like on AMZN at around 175, but we'll have to see if that holds. I see you there, LA. You're talking about Tesla. I see Tesla going through 173. A bit of a nice recovery off that 170.82 bottom. We'll keep eyes on the entire Mag 7 name, but I just have a sneaking suspicion that we may not get the type of price action we typically get and the follow through just because Papa is going to be on the mic at 2:30 dropping hot lines and the market wants to know what's up. So the buy button or the sell button may, collect some dust until that time. All right, let's get to the work. We're talking about pullbacks all week. We started Monday with the basics. Yesterday, we talked about support and resistance pullback trades. Today, we're going to include some Fibonacci's, and we're going to talk about the measured move pullback. There seemed to be some interest in the chat about this topic when we introduced it yesterday, so I'm kind of hoping you guys will like it, as I do with all my lessons and Adara's lessons. So, the basic support and resistance pullbacks are great. Those are the ones we talked about yesterday. But what if you want a more precise entry point? Enter the measured move pullback, baby, where Fibonacci retracement levels guide your way. Let's get to it. So, Fibonacci and the golden ratio. Let's just talk about the basics, the ABCs of Fibonacci's. We're not going to belabor the theory here, but we're just going to give you some groundwork. So imagine a line segment divided into two parts such that the ratio of the whole segment to the longer part is equal to the ratio of the longer part to the shorter part. A mouthful, but look over that again. This is the golden ratio. It's around 1.618, and it's found in many parts of nature. So we're just getting the theory. I'm panicking again, guys, because my monitor's out. No, I'm actually not panicking. I'm joking. It's back. that's the theory for Fibonacci's. Let's get into actual application of Fibonacci's in trading. So Fibonacci retracement levels, these are obviously based on the golden ratio that we just talked about, are a popular technical analysis tool. They represent potential areas where price retracements might end and the trend resume. Here's a perfect example. These are your fib lines. Thank you again, Adair, for throwing these in the chart there. So we see where the fib retracements end up at. And oftentimes, you'll see them in one of three places. This has been my experience, not a hard and fast rule, but it's been my experience that they'll either be at 38.2, 50 or 61.8. So it'll be a third, half, or 2/3. Nary will you get like the quarter and the 3/4. But we still have them there because, well, they're automatically generated and you never know. They may come into play. So my experience has been that you'll get retracements into the 50% area, the 38.2, 38.2%, or 61.8%. All right? Here's how to identify the measured move pullback. So first thing is we want to identify that strong move. The first thing is identify strong price move in the direction of the trend. That could be up, that could be down. Doesn't make a difference. We can go long, we can go short with the strategy. And then you're going to draw your fib tool from the breakout area or the breakdown area, depending on whether it's a long or a short. All right. The common ones are again, 38.2, 38.2%, 50%, and 61.8%. You're going to draw those automatically generated on the chart, starting from the move starting point and then to the end point. I'm just going to do this here on my chart because it's just super easy to do for me. Let's go on something like Apple on the daily for whatever reason. I don't have exact levels on Apple that I want to show, but I just want to show how to do this, okay? So we know that 200... that's unquestionable. 200 is a level of resistance on AAPL. That I don't think anybody can really argue with. So let's go ahead and draw from 200 all the way down into the low area here that we got into late October. That took us down into 165. So what we have here is a top line. That's the beginning of the move. And the bottom line, that's 100%. So you'll see them represented by solid green lines on the top and on the bottom. And intermediate, you'll see aqua lines. I know there's a lot of colors here, so forgive me for that. You'll see the aqua line, the yellow line, it's kind of yellowish, and then another aqua line, all right? And so that is basically how you do it. You draw it from the beginning of the move to the end of the move. Likewise, conversely, if I was to look for an area of support, I want to use 165 as support, I'd start the drawing from 165 and I drag it up into 200. That is how you draw fibs most of the time. At least that's how you draw it on my platform, okay? So that's how we're doing. So we're identifying the move. So the first thing, step one, ID the strong move, right? Whether it's uptrend or downtrend, and then draw your fib lines from the starting point to your ending point, all right? Let's go next chart. The pullback dance, baby. You know I had to include the word dance.
I saw
in there.
that and got I was like, yes, very sure.
You're lucky I didn't call it the wick shimmy dance or the fib shimmy dance. All right. The pullback dance. Now watch, after you've drawn your lines for your fibs, now wait and see, does the price action jive with the fib lines that you've already that you've drawn out there, right? So is it coming back or pulling up into the 50%? Is it respecting that level? If it's not, if it's zigzagging through it, then you shouldn't be using it. The price action is not respecting that fib level. How about the 2/3? How about the 1/3? So you're looking for confluence there between the fib levels and the price action that you've identified, okay? So now watch for the price to retrace against the trend. Does the pullback find support at one of the Fibonacci retracement levels, especially, like I said, 38.2, 50, 61.8, those are the big ones, right? If so, there's a potential measured move pullback, all right? And here is a picture of what we call the measured move pullback. Thank you again, Adara, for putting this in. And so there you go, 50% retracement. This bullish thrust was significant as it brought the market out of the tight trading range. And then there's your 50% zone for the pullback off the top. And there is 50. And lo and behold, it ends up holding there, and we continue the trend, making higher highs and higher lows. So how do you enter the trade? Obviously, if you're going long, if you see a pullback in an uptrend that reaches a Fibonacci retracement level, especially the lower ones like a 38.2 or a 50, it might be a good buying opportunity, which is like going long, the opposite for going short. And here is a perfect example, right? Let me just show you this. This is the going long one, right? You see it over here. There is your 0%. There's a starting point. There is your 100%, or that's the opposite. And then it comes back into 61.8, holds it to the T, and then you get another move higher. Same thing with going short, though. Same process. In a downtrend pullback, if it reaches your key level, your key retracement levels, it might be a good chance to go short. And here is the exact example of the going short. So this is our initiation move here. This is the 100% up here. And then this is our 0%. So this was, you know, the low point when the fibs were drawn. So if you drew that, look where we made it up to, right into 50%. Okay, so that's what you're doing. If for the short, the top area is where you start drawing the fib. For the long, the bottom area is where you start drawing the fib, and you drag it to the top part. So your initiation for the short is going to be on the top. Your initiation for the long is going to be on the bottom. Exiting the trade, as important. So you're looking for the price, like we talked about yesterday in exiting the trade during support and resistance. You're looking for the price to break above a key support or resistance level, depending on whether you're going long or short. So if you're going long and you're breaking through, for example, a key level on the daily chart, let's just say 200 on Apple, or I don't know, 1,000 on NVIDIA, you may want to wet your beak on some profits there. And, you know, as we always say on this show, hold the piece for the dream. You don't have to get out the entire percent, because the entire position, because if it keeps running, you want to be able to participate in some as well. The same thing is true for the short, below support in a downward to exit. So you're looking for the key breaking of support on the daily, weekly, whatever time frame you're charting, to look to take profits on your short there. And here's a little pro tip for Fibonacci extension users, baby. Fibonacci retracement levels can also be used for potential profit targets, and this is what I really like them for. So after entering a trade based on a pullback to a retracement level, some traders look to exit when the price reaches a Fibonacci extension level. So, for example, let me show you exactly what I mean. So let's just say Apple was to break 200, okay? Let me do one where there's not all-time highs. Let me see here. What's a good one? Let's go Pan W, because that one retraced quite nicely. Okay, so here we go. So this is the top for Pan Dub, right? Let's draw the fibs. So we know that this is the top. So let's draw it from the top to the bottom, right there. What's going on over there, Katina man?
Yeah, Chill Vibes is excited about Intel.
Chill Vibes is pumped about Intel with the Katina man, because, well, guess what? Somebody's in the money now on INTC, because it's up to 42 1/3. It was dancing with 42 all morning. So shout out to the Katina man there. Please for him, obviously, goes without saying. Intel back up. Let's hope it goes a little bit more. So with respect to these fibs, look at this. So this is the breakdown area, and look where we end up breaking down at 50%. That's the orange line over here. But that's not the only area that we can draw. So let's just say this is our breakout area. Let's say 320 is our breakout area for Fibonacci's. What we could do is we could actually use the breakout area to project where to take profit. And this is why I really like it. So from that 320 area we know, so we'll draw up exactly right there, and then we'll see exactly where to expect the price to retrace off. So we know that 50% from the breakout area is right at 350. So we could look to take some profit at that 350 area as well. So the whole point of why I'm telling you this is fibs, not just a tool to get in a trade, but a tool to project where to take your profit target. So again, read that again. Sorry. After entering based on a pullback to a retracement level, some traders look to exit when the price reaches a Fibonacci extension above the starting point in an uptrend or below the starting point in a downtrend. And this is an exact example of that. Thank you for adding that in, Adara, as well. There you go. You have your ending part right there, your start right there, and this is where you look to take some profits at that 61.8 area. So here's a little bonus tip. Imagine Fibonacci retracement levels as potential resting points for the price during a pullback. The measured move pullback strategy aims to catch these pauses before the trend resumes. So with the measured move pullback, you can leverage fib extensions for more precise entry and exit points during a pullback. Hope that helps.
Yeah, also I want to answer this question here from 4Man in the chat. Is this the same method that I can use for currencies? So, I mean, obviously you want to do your own research before using a method. However, a lot of those examples that I found, both the ones that were on that presentation and just Googling, were currencies.
Absolutely.
So take that how you will. I would say, of course, do research, do your own due diligence. But from what I was finding, it seems like currencies and actual assets are equally applicable for this kind of strategy, as long as you have all your ducks in a row before you go swimming. I don't know, but before you go wetting your beak, I guess would be the word to use.
Yeah.
What are you looking at right now? Speaking of beak
I'm
wetting?
looking at Amazon, Adair. I got to tell you the truth, because I mentioned this earlier. Dragon Adrian, what about fib extensions? I mean, I literally just finished talking about that, Dragon. Just go back and listen to the lesson. I just finished talking about it. But this is what I'm looking at here on AMZN. Look at how many bottoming tail wicking candles kind of. Every time we come into that general 175 area, we're getting bought up. But I got to tell you the truth. I mean, okay, great. I'm seeing some support here. I'm seeing buyers step in at 175, 175.05, 175.10. But I'm not seeing any aggression with buying. So yeah, the buyers are not letting the price dip below 175, but I'm not really seeing anything to show me, okay, well, we're going to test these highs. Maybe we'll make our way up into VWAP 175.50. That's what I'm not seeing here on Amazon. So even though that 175 level holding nice, and that 175 level comes into yesterday as well. Look at this afternoon trough that we got into. In fact, forget about the trough. That was where the bottom end of the range that I was calling a Dara Panera trade yesterday, that's where we basically held off all day. So that 175, after that big move off that 173 open, 175 absolutely held. So I could just punch in here and give this one 18 pennies worth of room. And I'm more than happy to do that, because it looks like 175 is an absolute level, or it's a level that's being absolutely defended on the day and yesterday on AMZN. So I'm gonna try to weasel my way over to Amazon here and maybe get some, we'll get some, do you ever, I know you're probably not a big gamer, neither am I.
Not really.
Have you ever heard of Duke Nukem?
No.
Fabian,
I think I might have heard of it.
How can you fail on Duke Nukem? Or were you hitting fail because she's not a gamer? Oh, okay.
He just said very confidently, I'm failing on a Dara. So, yeah, shout out to Fabian.
Because I figured Fabian would know Duke Nukem, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to talk about that, Fabian. But one of the things that he would say in the game was, come get some, right? And
wait, is that GTA or what is it?
No, it's Duke Nukem.
Oh, I didn't know that was a game.
It's a game.
Oh, okay.
It's legitimately a game, yes. So, yeah, anyway, so that's when I said get some, it just reminded me of that come get something. Anyway,
pretty funny.
That's neither here nor there, Dara. Anyway, Amazon coming into 175 here, so eyes on AMZN as we're looking for that 175 area to hold. If it doesn't, the trade is not valid. So eyes here, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at chips, shocker, plot. No, I'm joking. I've been trading a lot of chips lately. NVIDIA, there was something happening at 888. I tried a couple times to get involved in that range. NVIDIA was basically saying I was going to be out NVIDIA before I even entered. In honor of Jerome Powell, NVIDIA told me to close the door. Yeah. So the door was indeed closed, says NVIDIA, before I can even enter. So NVIDIA doing its own little shout out to Jerome Powell. I cannot get into this trade. However, AMD.
Duke Nukem 3D.
I'm pretty happy with how this went. I was noticing we generally had a trend of lower lows. We kept saying, and AMD kept saying, nah, at VWAP. So I said, you know what? I want to get involved. I entered at 180.50 because I noticed this kind of failure of VWAP. I said, I'll get out if we get above 180.80. And I watched for a couple tests of that. We failed it once, twice, thrice. And I said, yeah, let's add it, Dara. Let's add a little piece. We were initially going to plan to take out some of the pieces for the dream at 180, 179.80, and 179.60. That did not end up happening. Neil's lesson of the day, I think either yesterday or the day before, was pretty interesting, I think, and it was something to the effect of, you have to recognize when you're wrong. And for me, you know, I realized we were kind of struggling with that 180 for a bit around this 90 MA, so I took out about 30 pennies there with part of the profit, saved a piece for the dream at 179.90. So pretty happy with this. We did take a little bit less than we wanted to, but where's the next trade? As Obi says, I don't have an answer for that question quite yet, but I do want to look at Tesla. Also, the Stitch Lady saying, wrong chips, you should have looked at food stocks. They've been fun. A, I love the pun. And B, yeah, I need to take a look at some of those food stocks. I know General Mills reported this morning, I believe, so there's probably some opportunities to look at. Yeah, let's see what happens here. Also, TSLA, Mildred Claudio was talking about this one earlier in the chat. Look at this massive area that we do not want to go above, that 173.50. Happened in pre-market. Tesla says, nah, we do get above it. We eclipse it. We cannot really get above 174.20s, and then we go trickle to the downside from that point. Lower low, lower low, lower low. Then we come back up. Really hard to read this chart. It seems to be doing whatever it would like to do, which is a little bit hard to read. But yeah, Tesla, the Cybertruck seems like it is fully charged, but I'm not really sure what direction it'd like to drive in. Maybe it's Google Maps is having some issues, or it's GPS. But yeah, interesting look here on Tesla. I wish I could read levels, but there's a little bit harder to get a look at this one when it is just going in so many directions. That being said, this 172.86 area that I drew in pre-market, because it was a pre-market area we started with, is kind of interesting. We did get a little bit of an attempt to get into there earlier, around 10. Then we're kind of dancing. Maybe we'll see it as support. It looks like we won't. But I think for whatever reason, 172.85, 172.86 could be a skosh interesting. I will be keeping an eye on that. But yeah, that's really AMD is my main point of interest. AMD, NVIDIA.
What's the level
gonna
again,
see what
Katina
the
Man?
market has to give me.
Katina Man just bought 147.22s on GOOGL. We had that trade on Google yesterday. I happen to love that trade on the Katina Man right there. Look how many times we bounced off pivots today. We're using that 140 and 147, and a quarter, 147 and a third or thereabouts as a bit of a range. We have VWAP to the high side at 71s or 70 thereabouts. That's been acting as a bit of a resistance level, but in the contrapositive, we have that 147 and a quarter acting as a great support level. Even during the more, bamboozling time of day, like let's say 9:45 to 10 or thereabouts, we broke it, but we quickly reclaimed those levels. Shout out to the Katina Man. If you're following the Katina Man's trades or Neil's trades, head on over to More Trader TV Live. They have their positions live there, as well as a lot of other information. There goes Google. Here comes 147.70, Katina Man. You're about to hit that VWAP awfully quickly. Shout out to you, my man. So Google doing awfully well at the moment right now. GOOGL. Look at Softy go. Softy's pumping. Meta's pumping. These ones are all moving here. And what's Amazon doing? Well, we're a whole 10 pennies in the money on Amazon, so we're not going to, we obviously chose the wrong one there, but that's all good.
10 cent club, let's celebrate.
Yeah, 10 cent club, baby. Woo! No, but for real though, Meta on its way through 499, could be coming into 500 real soon. HOD today, 501 and a quarter, so keep your eyes on some of these names as for whatever reason they're getting a midday move. The Future could be making its way into 18.3. Last time we moved into 18.3, we had a double top. These 2 5-minute candles, these topping tail wick shimmy dance candles, absolutely huadunked the market 50 points off that 18.3. We dipped right into 18.250. And we held that level. So a bit of a 50-point range right now on the NQ June contract. We'll have to wait and see how this resolves.
Yeah, Fabian was saying it's the dime dance for for that club. So yeah, shout out to you. Really nice look. Amazon, for whatever reason, is a stock that I struggle with. And I know, people have said don't hold grudges against stocks. I don't. If there's something in Amazon I like, I will try it. But I find for whatever reason, a stock will go a direction, I get involved, and then Amazon's like, meh. So that's okay. That's its prerogative. But yeah, certainly some nice little funky ranges happening there too. I like that level. And yeah, congrats to you. You all basically got bottom wick there too. So nice look there on A to the M to the Z to the N. Shout out as always every time we mention the stock to our pal Obi. But also, NVIDIA, I did get involved in this short because this 890 failure has been pretty spicy. This is a very small position. We're going to try to get about 50 pennies off this because I've noticed that range has been getting tighter, but I've been watching this range like a hawk, as I do with NVIDIA, because if you're not like studying NVIDIA before you get in, and I say this as someone who has made this mistake, you kind of can't just jump in NVIDIA. You have to have like an entire dossier on what it's been doing that day and what levels it's liking. And not even just the chart. How is the book doing? The book for NVIDIA has been very, very skittish around that 890. So as long as we stay below 890 decisively, I'm going to stay in this little short. If we get above 890 with a viciousness or a swiftness, well, maybe we'll give it like 890.50 at the very most, but I really want to see what we do at 890 because right now there has been a little bit of trepidation in this stock as we approach that level. Also, shout out to Sean tagging DJ Khaled in this tweet about Google. Here we go with another DJ Khaled and Google off the long sticky note long. So really nice look there. Shout out to Sean. And there's DJ Khaled himself to shout Sean out on that. I've mentioned this before, but I actually did read his book, and it's pretty entertaining with his major keys and his life lessons for success. So yeah, interesting read for sure. My one thing too is I definitely don't think a ghostwriter wrote it. I think he wrote it himself. And also shout out to Sean and shout out to DJ Khaled with another one. Trades all day. Going to continue to see if there's any more that I can find here. Mark Kramer saying, yes, why do stocks go against us when we get involved? I wish I had the answer, but I think if you ask Amazon, it might have a couple things to tell you. For me specifically, no, I'm joking. Speaking of Amazon, how are you doing in Amazon?
Out of the trade, Adara, it broke down exactly below 175. So we lose 7 pennies, 7 whole pennies on AMZN. So we'll look to reignite. It printed a new low day, so you can't blame me for getting out there. It hadn't broken 175 all day, and it breaks it now. So out of that trade, but it's reclaiming 175 here. We'll see if this one starts moving up again, then maybe we'll reignite. But I promised Christopher Alhuri that I would look at PLTR. So let's do that. Oh, by the way, Dan Emmons got into the NQ, and I want to tell you his levels. So he's long from 18,259. His stop is at 18,230, and he's looking for profits at 18,330 plus. So he's looking for that break of essentially the IB high. The IB high is at 18,334. So he's looking to take profits at the implied balance high. Shout out to Dan the Man Emmons. All right, let's go over here and look at Palantir, because you saw Neil talk about this morning. The Katina man was talking about Palantir as well. I'm not sure if they traded it, but they did mention it. Let's have a look at PLTR. All right, so we don't have a catalyst today on Palantir, obviously, right? Nothing catalyst related. Looking. No, nothing from today. So on the day, we're up 1 1/5%, in between 1/5 and a quarter there with PLTR. HOD 24.15 yesterday. The closing print came in at 23.80. Let's go ahead and chart that. Higher highs and higher lows. But again, I always mention this because, well, when it's due, I'm going to mention it. The range per candle on Palantir is wide. And you can see that just by the size of the wicks relative to the bodies of those wicks. I mean, you have big bodied ones over here at the top, but for the most part, when you take the aggregate or the average, the range per candle is quite wide relative to the body. So that has to influence your stop placement. If you're going to get a range per candle on the 5-minute look that's wide, you can't have a tight stop. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself getting cut up in and out in the other. So keep your eye on that. But now, what I would be looking to do if I wanted to trade this, my first thought would be to get in on a 10-period retracement. The 10 EMA, which is the green solid line on my chart. Why? While it's been hugging the 10 EMA, all the closing prints have been north of the 10 EMA on this way up. We're there right now. As the 10 EMA is at 24.01, we're printing 24.02s. So we'll see if this one, it looks like it's going to give up the ghost actually as I'm talking about it, which is good. We can talk about it in the wild, as Adair likes to say. This one broke down below now 24. It's trading at 23.98. So the next area that I'd be looking to get in, I'm not punching in at these levels. There's nothing for me to punch in at here. 23.91. That's where the volume weighted average price is on Palantir. But I got to tell you, Palantir's volume on the day, 11.3 million, which is, what's its 5-year average? It's very low. The 5-year average for Palantir is 71.7 million shares a day. So I know it's 11:30. It's not 4 o'clock yet, but I don't think we're reaching that the average by this time of day quite yet. Anyway, it's breaking down below 24 now. Looks like it might be into that 23, 90-ish area where the volume weighted average price is. Let's watch to see what it does around there. Otherwise, I don't punch into Palantir. Pleased as dang punch that I got out of this Amazon trade. Look at it break down. Yeah, there we go. So it hadn't broken 175 all day. It didn't break 175 all morning and all afternoon yesterday. And that level goes. Use your stops, people. As this one, I did not anticipate doing this. I thought we would hold 175 and maybe range between 175 and the volume weighted average price at around 50 pennies, but that was not to be the case. This one's on the way down. Sorry for anybody who took this, but I really hope you guys use stops like I did over here. And let's see what this one or what any other trade presents us on the day. Right now I'm seeing Google. The Katina man was in Google. And, it's finding resistance as expected at the volume weighted average price at 147.70, 147.80. So Google presenting you with an interesting range trade today with pivots to the bottom at 147 and a quarter, 147 and a third, and that 147 and 3/4, let's say, to the high side. So that's continuing to give possible trades here. So we'll look for something, and hopefully we'll get into something soon.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that Amazon, we talk sometimes about JOMO, joy of missing out, as Ramin put once, and I think that's probably, I don't want to assume, but that seems like what might have been felt in Amazon there, the joy of missing out on that move down. This NVIDIA, we got out. We ended up taking about 50 pennies. I ended up scalping out of it a little bit earlier than expected. The initial plan was 888.50. But honestly, we were getting like a 50 to 40 cent spread a little bit there in NVIDIA. And I was like, I cannot do this. This is bad for my health. No, I'm joking. It just was, we did stay really well below that 890. I will say that. But we were getting tighter and tighter in that range. The spread was doing the opposite. The spread was lengthening. So we're going to have to see what happens. Quantron, shout out to you. Today should be your favorite day just before Fed market will range. Yeah, I'm seeing, I am very excited. I have to say, I had a nice trade there in NVIDIA, a nice trade on not Amazon, AMD. But yeah, lots of things to look at here. Tesla, also, look at this level that we held. We bounced off that earlier area of a little bit of resistance, 172.67. We bounced off there again. Beautifully, almost to the penny. So I'm gonna have to see what happens here. And look, again, we reject off that 173.48. We need to add a line there. These are not these aren't fibs or these are not fibs or pivots. I know sometimes people will be like, what are these lines on your chart? These are my made up range lines. I don't have a name for them yet, but they're my micro ranges. I guess that is the name for them. And they're just kind of sometimes levels I'll use if they end up respecting that I can kind of make range trades and enter and exit and have stop losses with, right? So that's kind of what they are. They're useful basically only for me, but they are based on something real, and that is intraday price action.
Okay.
So thank you, appreciate that. So that's what these lines are, because I know sometimes people are like, there are so many lines, and I apologize, there are a lot of lines, but they kind of help me with my charting. Also, couple of mentions here of AT&T. Puya mentioning it in the chat. I know also, I believe Stitch Lady was mentioning AT&T. So let's take a look and see what's happening here on T. Let's dot our I's and cross our T's. This is a really fun look. Oh my gosh. Okay. Puya asking about a long opportunity. I don't want to go out and say advice because we don't know for sure. Not advice, just my take on the chart. I think it's a little bit early to kind of say for sure. However, we did have this failure with these buyers overwhelming sellers here coming into the 17.15. AT&T said, no, you don't. Went right back up. We're about flat on the day, so directionally I think we could go either way. I would like to kind of see what we do at 17.22. Bit of an arbitrary area, but it was VWAP earlier and we bounced beautifully. Look at the kind of stagnance that we saw around that 17.20. I think what we do here could be potentially of imminent importance. Also be aware of that very flat topish rejection at 17.30. That's my take on that chart. I hope that helps. I can't say for sure what way it will go either way, but I would be very cognizant of these levels. Volume actually was beautiful though in AT&T, about 6.5 million. As someone who used to trade literally below a million, I honestly cannot complain. That's a beautiful look. Not seeing any news on this stock though. Another one, X. I believe it was Mo asking about X here. X, the volume is below a milli, but it's just below a milli. It's about 960,000 from what I'm seeing. So this is interesting. I don't want to say flat top break, but maybe that could be shaping up here. Look at this 40 area, Slightly higher lows, though, worth noting for the second touch, but the third touch, sorry, but the first two times we touched beautifully, 40, we're seeing higher lows. I think the break above there could be interesting, but I think right now volume is a little bit suspect, a little negligible, to use some Sharifisms.
Yes,
I would like to see a little bit more volume, and I would like to see one more touch of the 40 area, not 39.98. I want to see 40, and I want to see it with a little bit of viciousness. And I want to see a volume pickup, and if we see that, maybe this could be interesting. Also, though, this attempt to make a lower low, also a little suspect. So I would be probably pretty cautious and careful. With X, I do think it's doing something interesting, and I think every day, someone or something, everyone and their mother's third cousin, to use a Sharifism, is meant, or their mother's third cousin's dog sometimes.
Yeah.
And in this case, probably
give canine love too, baby.
Mentioning, pardon?
We have to give the canine some love too.
Oh yeah, the dogs definitely, certainly. Everyone barking about X and what they're going to be doing there. So I think there's enough potential catalyst that this one could make a move, but I would be very careful. Kevy also mentioning VKTX, Viking Therapeutics. Thank you for mentioning this one. I know this one isn't the same space as my pals Lilly and Novo. And there was a positive weight loss catalyst for Entera Bio earlier today as well, saying that their GLP-2s, their oral treatment for IBS, I guess not directly weight loss, but certainly related to that area of the body, saying that that was positive. So I think, I know that company normally does weight loss, so interesting look there for Entera Bio and OPCO. VKTX having a nice bounce off the 9 EMA, which is oddly enough become one of my favorite levels. If this bounce holds and we keep this not horrifying spread of 14 cents, I say that because VKTX can get spready. I'm interested in this. Thank you for bringing this one up, Kevy82. How are you doing? I saw it trade like flash.
Yeah. Well, because we tried to take a dip trade on XTLB. I'm going to get to my small cap gappers in a second. It didn't hold VWAP, but I like the $2 level. So we're putting a dip trade here at 205 with a stop below 2. So we'll risk about 6 pennies on XTLB. It's up 100%. It is now, at that volume weighted average price level. It'll have to hold the $2 level. Otherwise, that is the line in the sand. We're going to cut this one, but it's going to have to print. There seems to be size at 6 that's holding this bad boy up above 2. We're going to see how long that lasts for, or whether we get printed, because the size at 6 could prevent us from coming in to 5. I'm seeing the size refresh here on the book at 6. There's more size being added. So there's an exuberant buyer for whatever reason at $2.06 on XTLB. Small cap gapper du jour just started showing up. Let me give you the deets. $11.9 million market cap. It's tiny. 51 or thereabout million share float, larger-ish, not huge, but bigger than some of the small cap gappers we've been trading lately. Use tradertv.live as the code for 20% off trade ideas. That is a program that you see in front of you right now. And it helps me identify what the short float is, as well as many other things. The float on this bad boy is different. According to Trade Ideas, 3.83 million shares, not the 51 that IBKR is showing. And the short float on this name is negligible, 0.05%. So we'll have to wait and see what goes on there. Not getting printed on this one at the moment, as the size at $2.06 holding this one up from coming into my entry. I might have to move up my entry. But let's talk about the small cap gappers, because I haven't mentioned anything about these ones today. Top left corner, you'll see XTLB trading at the volume weighted average price. That's what's got me interested. We're going to let that one pan out. We'll see if we get a trade on it. The other one that's really showing up here, and showed up in the morning, and then I took it off my watch list, because as you can see here, it did a big boy topping tail candle to $1.60, and then huadoomed all the way to $1.17. It started trading below the volume weighted average price. I was like, see ya, you're off my list. I only have a finite amount of charts. And well, then it made me feel bad, because, well, it's right above the VWAP right now, and it printed a new high a day, $1.70. But I got to tell you, the spread on this one, not to my liking. Far too wide, far too volatile for a $1.50 name. I mean, this is not what you want to see from a stock that's trading at $1.53. Currently, the spread is 2 pennies, which shouldn't be the case on a dollar stock. The market cap, 48 and 2/3 million. The float, 16.1 million shares. And let's bring in Trade Ideas again, find out what the short float, if any, ANGH. Yes, ANGH. There it is. Short float, negligible, 0.27%. Nothing we need to concern ourselves with there. So yeah, this one, putting in far too many topping tail candles for my liking. It's just really rangy here on a per candle basis. The only way I'd trade this is a dip trade. I wouldn't punch long on the breakout trade just because it seems to retrace every time it makes a newer high. So that would be, not conducive to my trading style at all. So we'll keep eyes on ANGH here. Looks good. With some caveats there. The other one that I was looking at, TGL, that's trading below the volume weighted average price now, so not tradable for me. Same thing goes for TRUG, TRUG. These were all above VWAP. They were all big moves off the open there, but they've all retraced. SoundHound is a little bit below VWAP. So SoundHound had another decent day, got off that 785 and printed 855s, but now it's below that 8 1/5, hanging out in the 8 mid-teens here, below VWAP, and to me, not tradable. But I did see a new one show up there, and somebody mentioned it to me, and it was halted. Let me see if I can find it. INTJ, there it is.
Oh.
Yeah, INTJ. This one, Intelligent Group, sorry. INTJ, this is the 1 minute look on the INTJ. As you can see here, it's halted once, twice, 3, 4 times to the high side. And now it looks, are we halted? Yeah, we are halted to the downside this time at $6.60 thereabouts. So this one, seems to be not tradable at the moment just because it can't seem to stay open. So INTJ, if you're into that kind of thing, I don't like these multiple haltery names, so getting out of that. Oh, come on, XTLB, don't do that to me. So we get almost filled at 1 penny, and then it shoots up into $2.33. That's just the way it goes with these ones, right? We defend the $2 level, but we get shafted because we don't get printed. That's the way it goes, baby. XTLB, going without me.
That's hard. That's a very bamboozling move for XTLB. Also, NVIDIA, speaking of bamboozling stocks, I just don't have a good transition for this. NVIDIA, I got involved at 880.50. We had a little bit of floosh to the downside, but we held 888. So I said, Adara, you have to hold your horses because I'm not very good at being patient. But we are, initially I was gonna get out around 889.20. You might think that's a very arbitrary level, and it kind of is. But I was noticing that 888.50, 889.50 was nice, but I never like to give my ranges the full opportunity to run because I don't always trust them. And NVIDIA, I trust no farther than I can throw it. And given that it's like a $2+ trillion company, I really cannot throw this stock. So we're gonna give it a little bit less room to breathe. But basically, long story short, we got basically to my level. I was so pumped. And then much like XTLB did to Sharif, it was a little bit bamboozling. We dropped below. Now we are decisively below 888. So, but the spread is like 50 cents. So it's going to be very hard to get out of this one. Fun times, exciting moments as always here in the market and with my pal NVDA. We're holding up this 887 level though pretty well, but I still don't want to risk it. So we're going to have to be extricating ourselves from NVDA post haste, and she does not want us to leave. Wow, she has me apparently like decided I cannot leave. We're out now. That's okay. Still up on the day, though currently down on NVIDIA. It was a pretty small position. On to the next one, as they say. And the next one, AMD continuing to make lower highs, lower lows, but it's not doing that beautiful range it was doing earlier. So I don't really have much here. We used to be jumping off that or rejecting off the VWAP in a really beautiful area. Now we're kind of switching up. Still have lower lows and lower highs though, so there might be something. I just don't know if it would be my type of trade. I've talked about this recently. I feel like my issue is sometimes the setup will be good and I'll try to take it on that setup, but it's just not my type of setup. And that's okay. Like I know there was one time, Sharif and I were both looking meta long, and I know you took it successfully, the meta long, whatever day this was last week. 300? Oh, okay. And I tried to say, I know the 300.
No, that was a while ago. Yeah, my bad.
Meta Connect. Yeah, that's also a memory. But anyways, but no, and I remember too, like I also tried to take it. It just wasn't successful. And the idea was right. It's just not something I'm capable are comfortable with executing. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to say. I think there's different kind of trades for different people. And this AMD short, well, very nice. It's not my type of trade unless I see a bit more of a range here. NVIDIA, the range left, so buy NVIDIA. If I go back to you, you'll probably have to do the NVDL because shout out to Sharif for continuously bringing these up because I do think they're really important to remember.
Yeah.
And I often do not give them enough love. Microsoft, though, I was giving a little love to this range earlier. Look at this bottom, 422.40. We go up to 422.60. I said I want all the smoke. I did indeed take all the smoke. I was going to get out if we got below that 422.20 as we're doing right now. So I was going to give it about 20 pennies either way. Pretty happy with how that trade went. Little bummed about NVIDIA. I should have been a bit quicker to leave that trade, but you know what? What is life without whimsy? That wasn't really actually a good response. But that's okay. We didn't get too rinsed. We just got lightly drenched, lightly, sprinkled. It's like when you walk by the sprinkler. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. There are other trades, and I will be looking for them. How are you doing?
I'm got into META. This is going to be a kind of a quick line in the sand. Looking for a higher low here. See if we can hold up at this 497 area on META. I'm not sure why my position board is not showing fit. I don't know, bro. But it's not showing my positions, Fabian. I'm not sure what's popping off on the position board there, but we'll check that out. I'm long for anybody who was wondering, I'm long 497.19 on META, looking for a general 497 hold. This is what I'm seeing here that's prompted me to get into Meta. Number one, it's up on the day, and I'm looking for a higher low. So we'll see if we get this or not. If it doesn't, I'll cut this. But this is the level that I really like, to be honest with you, which is that 496.25 level. If I don't get this trade and doesn't end up holding at these levels, I'm going to look to re-up at 496.25. But I was looking maybe for some higher lows here, a bit of a compression pattern on Meta. We'll see if we get it. We'll have to pack our patience because the volume on Meta is a little suspect at the moment, quite frankly. So right now, holding that general 497 area, I'll probably just give it to about 496.80-ish or thereabouts because it's kind of like in no man's land. It's at the whole dollar level, but that's really all that it is, really. And so if it doesn't hold the whole dollar level, I'm just gonna cut it. And then we'll look to re-up or to re-enter at 496.33. 496.33, that is where we closed out yesterday. So now we're at 497 on the ask, and it's about to break down below 496.85. If that's the case, then I'm just going to hit the flatten button there. But yeah, and there it is. So now we're printing 72s, and now we're printing 80s. Okay, so I can just hold on for a bit longer. No, that got to get out of that. So that ends up being an L. Now I'm negative on the day, but very, very small negative. I have barely traded. So taking small shares, I guess, until we get some sort of direction from this market. A little bit up, a little bit down. It's been a range trader's paradise. How are you doing over there, Miss Range Trader?
I mean, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. NVIDIA got a little bit singed by that, but we did have one positive trade on that name, so that's okay. Just trying to work on having the positive trades overwhelm the negative trades in terms of P&L, which did not happen in NVIDIA. Marginally green on the day. Like a nice light green, I guess, sort of like the color of this blazer. But nothing too crazy, but you know what that means? The only way we can go is up. So I like looking at it that way. I did get involved in Tesla here because I liked that we were bouncing off this. I watched us bounce a couple times. Then Tesla decided, it's going to go down a little bit. That's okay. As long as we stay above. Look at this beautiful hold of 172.66 earlier. I like that hold too because it was a bit of a pre-market level that we kind of danced with. As long as we hold that, I'm pleased as punch. The one thing that does concern me though for this long in terms of profit takers is we had lower highs. So I will be cognizant. I think we will be trying to get out just above 173s. And do we bounce at one? Yes, Tesla, we bounced.
Bang.
Okay, so excited. I just did talk to Tesla there. It was pretty funny. But also, yeah, shout out to someone in the chat, I forget who it was, saying that Tesla is always self-driving. So I think that's a really good descriptor of that stock in that it kind of doesn't have a direction. You know what I mean? It kind of does what it would like to do. Shout out to Sharouz. I'm so happy my weekly profit goes green again. Back to 7 weeks of back-to-back profit.
Damn.
Congrats to you.
Not
Killing
bad.
it there. You got to celebrate everything, right? So we're all here to celebrate with you here at How to Trade and at Trader TV Live in general. Always very happy and proud of this community and very happy to be a part of it. And I would also love to be a part of this Tesla long, should it be nice to me again? No, I'm joking, I'm joking. We bounced well, I have no qualms. If we bounce again, I might add a little bit here, but if we don't, I'm out. I must be going. I must be leaving this trade if that occurs. What else is happening? A&D, just AM dying in a way that I don't have a read on. Let's look at I want to look at PayPal. Someone earlier was asking about PayPal. I apologize, don't remember who it was, but they were saying they were long PayPal. I believe they were saying they were long PayPal. This is interesting. PayPal has this weird kind of magnetism, shout out to Obi, for whatever reason, at the 63.75 area. Look at this. We go up, we go shoo, all the way up, and we kind of come down, we bounce, we make slightly lower highs, mind you. We could actually have a flat bottom break, because look, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We're holding that 63.75 really well. So that would be interesting. If we do fall, I would be watching that 73.69 area, because we had a little pop earlier, then a bit of chop and churn around I guess VWAP too, 73.65, 73.60 with this chop and churn. But I would be, honestly, I would probably wait and see another higher high here, because to me, this looks like it could be a skosh flat bottom breakish. I don't want to make any assumptions. We are up 1+% on PayPal, so I don't want to say that. We're gonna have to be pretty careful about PayPal. I don't really want to, not one I want to get involved with, but I wanted to look at it earlier because someone was mentioning that one. We got filled. We're out of the Cybertruck. I probably should have been a little bit, I think we got like less than 20 pennies on this. So dime dance, as Fabian said. But yeah, honestly, if this range keeps holding up, I'm going to be okay with this. And I'm happy to witness this, because it does show the veracity of the fake Adara levels. I don't know what they're called. They're not fake. They're my levels. I just don't have a name for them yet.
They're not
so
fake.
The micro range is coming back to haunt me in a good way. Happy to see that little triangle on my side chart. Thank you for calling them not fake. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, why would they be fake? They're
That's
legitimate like prints on the chart that you ID'd.
Thank you, I appreciate
back
that.
in META, looking for a
nice.
beak wetter at 75s, long at 30s. We're printing 70s right now. It'd be just fabulous if I could get filled and take some off the table, and there it is, baby. We get the fill. So now we're going to let this one run. About 70 pennies in the money that quickly on Meta. Let's go, 498, baby. Yes, yes, please, as dang punch. But you know what annoys me, Adara? This. I hate getting stopped out bottom wick. It drives me nuts. Right? Because you're like, come on, market, really? You were gunning for me like that? Like,
yeah, you
take it so personally.
It actually does feel personal when that happens.
You take it personally. I take it personally anyway. No, I'm kidding, I don't. But yeah, nice move up there. About 70 pennies in the money on Meta. We're gonna let this one run. Maybe we can get a 99 print. That's where we top it. We had a topping tail candle at 99s last time. I'm talking about $499. We're almost $1 in the money on Meta that quickly. All right, let this go, baby. See if we can move up. I love the hammer candle that came in. I love it and hate it at the same time. I like it because, well, I base this trade off it. I hate it because this hammer candle is the one that stopped me out. So, you know, love-hate relationship, like many things in life. But Meta looking to make higher lows here, and that's what prompted me to get into this trade. It was an obvious higher trough, higher trough, higher trough. Now, whether we get continuation into key levels of resistance, that's a different story. And the one that I'm aiming for is 499. Whether it comes into 499 or not, an entirely different story. In fact, I would suggest to you that maybe 499 is less likely to come in. Why? We're getting higher lows on Meta. That we can obviously discern. But we're obviously getting lower highs, as well. Look at that 501.25 touch. And then we don't even make it up to 500 the next time around. We get up to 499.10. So now we're at 498. So could it be a lower high this time, right? That compression pattern or that, you know, symmetrical triangle. So, you know, questions to be asked here on Meta. And we're going to have to pack our patience, because that's the only way we're going to get some of these answers, right? We're going to have to see if the price action manifests or not. Let's see what people are talking about. Dan the Man Emmons, the bull pattern buy zone held again for the NQ. Yes, sir, Bob. Yeah, bounced off that general 8.25-ish and change. It didn't make its way down to 250. This time it looks like it came to 18.255. So shout out to Dan, still holding his NQ long. John Del Segno, NET blasting. Haven't had eyes on Cloudflare in a minute. I know that they got that new CFO, right? Who was that from?
It was someone from another company. I'm going to look up. It was someone that I was surprised they left that company for Cloudflare. I remember that. I really remember that.
But it was a step up for them. It wasn't a lateral move. You could tell, right?
Yeah.
She's a CFO somewhere now. She's CEO, something like that. Here
just trying to find this.
Yeah. Give me a second here. I had it a couple of days ago as well. Goldman Sachs, Stephanie Cohen, executive, depart from the firm. Yeah, it's big Stephanie C, baby. Stephanie C making moves in her life. Yeah, Goldman Sachs top fintech executive Stephanie Cohen is leaving the investment banking firm, joining the exodus of the top female talent from the company. According to Wall Street, Cohen is set to have joined Cloudsurf. What is she? Chief Strategy Officer. Okay, she's CSO. I thought she was CEO. All good there, so we'll keep eyes on NET. I don't know, John. I mean, I don't think it's blasting, brother. It's up 1.15. It's nicely off the bottom there. The bottom was 94 2/3. Now we're printing 96 1/4. So I don't know about blasting, but it's having a good day. No catalyst for me today on Cloudflare. What is there actually? What is this? Okay. Cloudflare is attracting investor attention. No, this is just a Zacks.com article. This is really nothing we need to worry about here. It's not a catalyst on the day. All right, we'll keep eyes on net, and let me know if it, makes bigger moves, and then maybe we'll jump in that with you, John. But yeah, good eyes there. Let's see what T-Money, random question. Why FOMC always on a Wednesday? It's not, I mean, look, it's because usually they start Tuesday. It's a 2-day meeting. That I guess maybe they're too grumpy to start on Monday. They're still hungover from the weekend. Who knows, right? So that they need a day to decompress, and Tuesdays when they start. And it's a 2-day meeting, so they go to Wednesday. I'm not really sure, John. I'm just talking out of my rear end. You know that, right? So don't take what I said seriously there. We're now $1 in the money on META. Please, this dang punch. Let's see if this one, we can get a little bit more on this one there.
Hashtag wet that beak. I'm very happy for you. That's awesome. I'm really excited there. That fantastic look there. Congrats to you. Shout out to Sharif with that sliding into Zuckerberg's DM. I guess Zuckerberg sliding in there, Meta being like, hey, yeah. Tesla's doing something. Honestly, I can't complain. I knew this range was getting tighter, which is why I already took out a third of profits when we got to 173, 172.94. What I've been doing is I've been taking larger size and just taking like 10, 15 cent scalps on Tesla. I've been sitting at this stock, staring at it exclusively. It does not leave my eye line. We get out. Basically, what I was trying to do with my most recent entry, though, which I still have 2/3 of my position in, is taking a little bit more and getting out pieces as we get to my 173 area. I will not be staying in Tesla beyond 173 because this range is closing in on me to the point where, it's getting intense. It's getting high energy.
Patty, yo, we need an explanation, bro. What's going on with your girl? Your girl is up 8.13% and she's flying into $21. What is going on? But in case anybody doesn't know, this is BPI, Big Patty Ice, and he trades a lot of Mara. And you had a solid short on Mara today.
I had a long on Mara.
So sorry about that. Are we good to go with the audio? Thank you for that, Fabian. You had how many trades today on Mara, Patty?
I don't know, 50.
50 fills or 50 trades?
50 fills, right?
50 fills.
In and out, yeah.
And you've been watching Mara for a while, and you held that big swing trade.
I did,
right?
yeah,
Tell us a little bit about that swing.
From 17 to 27.
17 to 27. So you had a 10-banger.
Yeah, in 5 days.
Yeah, a 10-banger in 5 days. And then when it came down, Patty, what was the level you were looking at as a good area of support?
I was looking back at the 19 level, right? They pumped to 34, so it's like I got out too early, but I was looking at the 19 level. And
You're looking at 19.
Yeah, now like it's blown through it, but I don't know. Just
and you and I agreed on that level. Remember that little trap?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
maybe I should bring it up so we can people can follow along with us. Because Mara has this way, Patty, of trading not in relation to Bitcoin. It kind of marches to the beat of its own drum. It wants to be up one day, it wants to be down another day.
Sure, but it used to, and that was the whole point of it, right? Because before the ETFs came out, you couldn't really trade anything but Mara. You could trade coin and stuff like that, Riot, but I liked Mara because it moved the 10%. I like the action. So
now we're looking at a chart on Mara, Patty. Would you say that this is kind of maybe an interesting support area, the 17, 18, 19 general area, owing to this area that we got to in January?
Yeah.
What does this area look like to you here?
It looks great. It's just whatever you think's going to happen, just don't go too hard, right?
Yeah,
not go the opposite. It's just like Mara, Bitcoin moved to 73,000 and Mara dropped 30%.
Okay.
So how how does that work? How do you base your trades off of anything anymore? So I don't really trade Mara as much anymore. I took the long just because it shorted this morning. So I'm like, okay, let me take it. I got lucky for 80 pennies, but
I don't know about lucky, but
well, I got in right at the bottom. It's just got to be careful, especially with Mara now. Just be wary.
Is it fair to say you're starting to trade it a little bit less because of
I stopped trading it completely. Yeah, well,
okay.
like especially my personal account, I don't touch it
You're not
anymore.
touching it.
But over here we get in and out for minimal fees. It's
Right.
a bit easier, right?
Of course.
Just be weary, you know, because you know how the stock market is. They pump it. Oh, everybody gets in. Your grandfather's neighbor is talking about Bitcoin and stuff like that. So when stuff like that happens, just be careful. And if Mara's not moving with Bitcoin, like how are you basing it off
Tough
of, right?
to base off a different derivative.
Just be weary. Just be weary, because you know, stocks are. They get everybody in, and then they flush, and then everybody, you know, they get scared. They dump their shares, and everyone buys it back up again. So
Fair. BPI.
good luck, everybody.
Big
Good luck,
Patty Ice.
everyone.
Thank you for coming on, brother. All right, there you go. Special guest appearance, Big Patty Ice. Well, you know, especially when Mara's up 7 2/3%, was up more. We were knocking on the door 9% before BPI came in. So good to get some other insight into how to trade some of these, especially with the riot headline today. You covered that.
We did have the riot headline. JP Morgan came out hard and was like, we don't like these other miners. Riot, riot, riot. They're going to cause a riot there. No, I'm joking. They were just very, very bullish on Riot, especially in comparison to some of those other mining-related names. But yeah, thank you to Patrick for those insights there. I'm trying to extricate myself from the Cybertruck because it decided to die on me a little bit there. But yeah, so interesting look there from JP Morgan on Riot, basically saying like, yeah, no, that is our miner that we like compared to those other miners. That was a bit of a rough and tumble ride. They were now negative on Tesla. Unfortunately, we probably got out of their bottom wick. We broke below that 172.60 with the viciousness after holding up really well. Did take some profit on that trade, not enough. That's okay. On to the next. But yeah, I definitely grew to that Maraches to the beat of its own drum there.
Straight up.
Very interesting look. Yeah, this Tesla is like, whew.
Derek, can I mention this?
Please do.
DWAC? Guys, DWAC is getting to an interesting level here. So you heard the I don't know who mentioned it. Was it you this morning?
Yeah, so I was about to throw to it, and then Sean's like, is that what you're throwing to?
That's
so we
right.
both at the same time.
Katina man, the Big Kahunas mentioned it this morning. Guys, we did start moving on DWAC there. Randomly midday yesterday, let's just say around 12 o'clock, we were making lower lows, lower highs, and then boom, 11:45 came in. And since that 11:45 print to the high of today, DWAC is up 36% from the lows that we printed 15 minutes to noon to the highs that we printed today. We're up 35.83%. on DWAC. But here's why I want to interrupt Darren and show you this. Look at this kind of area that we made at the high this morning at 950. We got into 43.45. Let's just say 43.50 or thereabouts. Now we're starting to do these topping tail wick shimmy dance candles into that key area of resistance where we're starting to see possibly sellers overwhelm buyers here. So I'm not saying we're going to get a double top on DWAC, but it is something to be cognizant of, especially if we start breaking down below the key technical indicators. I'm talking about the 10 EMA. That's the green line on my chart. I'm talking about the yellow line, which is a 20 EMA on my chart. Keep your eye on these and look for lower highs and lower lows on each successive 5-minute candle. Is it doing the rounded top? Shout out to the NOS boss. He talks about the rounded bottom. Equally as valid is the rounded top. It's showing you resistance. So keep eyes on DWAC here. I don't know if this is easy to short. It's not on IBKR. I don't have any shorts available on my personal platform. I definitely have them at work. Now it's just going to be a matter of, do I have to ante up for them? Neil, do you have any idea? Yeah, we do. So we have to pay for them. Thank you, Neil. So I have to secure shorts for DWAC. Guys, it's up 19%, 18.6%, was up over 19% at the highs, coming down now into 43. So DWAC could present us with an interesting short here. It's just a matter of whether we get that strength. But right now, it looks like sellers are really starting to overwhelm buyers a bit. What do you see?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the DWAC has been really interesting.
Alberta. Oh, Kyle. Oh, Kyle. $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Kyle. You kill me, bro. You just kill me. I'm not reading it, Ram. Ram's trying to get me fired. Sorry to interrupt you, Adara.
Yeah, just me looking at another range. Don't mind me. Yeah, Tesla, that was a bit of a rough go. The Roadster kind of threw me out at that 0 to 100 move. And we held the range so well, too. But that's okay. Honestly, even though I am a little bit lower on that name, I'm really proud of myself for just sticking with it and continuing to scalp that thing within an inch of its little scalpy life. I will say, too, with Tesla, I'm going to pull up Tesla again, I guess. I'm also just watching NVIDIA for point of entry. But Tesla, I really like this on Tesla because we were holding up really well. I did take out some of this, and then I just had to get out because we did break below that 172.66 area with the viciousness. Probably got out a little bit late, but that's okay. Where's the next trade? I don't know. Hopefully I'll find one. I do like, though, if we bounce off this 172.30 area, these little lines I've been drawing, my micro ranges, have actually held up incredibly well in Tesla. They don't always hold up on every stock, similar to like Fed, pivot. I almost said Fed pivot, pivots or fibs or anything like that. They're always really going to be dependent on what the stock's doing, but I like using them as levels. I do like this 172.30 on Tesla should it hold, but I don't really know if I would have a stop, so I'd have to wait for that. NVIDIA, though, is a much cooler look for me right now. We've had this thing we've been doing with NVIDIA where we get all chop and churny and rangy, and then we fall with the viciousness to the downside. We do it here, swoop. We do it again, swoop. If we reject this 885 or 886 area, guess who's going to be ready?
Who?
With the way, me. I'm going to be ready. We're going to probably take it with a skosh less size because we got a little bit chopped in NVIDIA. But also, you know what else is ready? As we put it there, Neil's also ready, is Neil with his lesson of the day.
Your lesson of the day today, when should you reverse your trade? So I'm not talking about get out of the trade, because I think we all understand. You get in, you have a stop, you have an idea when you're going to be wrong, so you jump out of it. That's kind of the easy part. But there are these situations, and I know everybody's had this before, where you look back, it's like, man, the moment I got out of that trade was like the perfect time to go in the other direction. Like, are you kidding me? Like, that was the spot. That was it. What am I missing out on? Like, should I have done it, but I was bullish on the stock and it was dying, or I was bearish on the stock and it was ripping? So obviously you're going to have an idea when you get into a trade of which direction you think it's going to go off of your entry point. And sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. You've got to be very careful about reversing, and for obvious reasons. If you just got stopped out of a trade, I mean, in some level it means your read on the stock wasn't the best, or it's going against your plan of action, and you don't want to get caught up revenge trading, right? Like, a revenge trade is when you're simply upset at the loss that you just saw, and you look for the first available opportunity to just make it back. Like, I want to get that back right away. That's not how the market's going to work. The market doesn't care that you just took a hit. Stock doesn't care about your feelings. You guys know all about that. However, you're going to see these situations crop up where you look at something like an exit point, like if I'm buying, I bought a dip in PDD, 135 level. It turned out to be one of the few places that you could have even tried along and gotten away with it in the morning. But I look back at where my exits were. My first target out at 37 was a top. Like, think about this. It's like my first target out for the $2 ends up being the curl spot for the short. And then my out for a stop is almost like a flat bottom breakdown. And this is not, it's not like it happens once, one time. You're gonna find this a lot of times. I have another example here on Mara. The level I like to short, boom, the 20 short, falls right down into, I had a support line dropped. When I get out, it does a curl. Once it gets back above it, that should have been a long. And then when it broke out this top, and I'm jumping out of the trade, wow, that was a spot to go long, and you could have easily reversed. The first thing you need in a situation like that, and we use this term a lot, so apologies to anyone that watches the morning show or the live show every single day, you want confluence to the trade. I find you don't want to look at that line in the sand and simply say, okay, well, my short was to this level, it's a long above that level. It's not that simple. So a few things need to line up. In the specific case with Mara, I think it was an easier case than Pinduo Duo. And I'm going to lay it out like this. With Mara, and why this was, and I didn't do it, so let's get this out of the way. I didn't go long. So I'm not sitting here telling you, hey, just do what I did, blah, 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 you're going to make money. No, I didn't do it. That's why it's a lesson. that you had obvious confluence by zooming out the chart. So the first part would be, well, did it do a reversal? Look at the dip and rip yesterday. Look at the move it put yesterday. It was a break of the low, rip up, break of the low, and then a reversal to break out in the afternoon to that 1925 area. So what did it do today? Rip, pull back, hold support around that same key level, and then rip back up. So it's actually showing you the same pattern as it was before. So that's confluence part one. Confluence part two was, if you look at what Bitcoin was doing, like IBIT at the open, am I overwhelmed by the amount of selling at the open? Not really, and then it puts in the bottom, and it's starting to trend back to the upside. So you've got Bitcoin doing a dip and rip. You've got Mara doing a dip and rip. You've got the same move happening yesterday that worked out if you reversed it off of that break at the top. So all of those reasons make it a spot that it's worth looking into for that flip. Now here's the downside for this. You've gotta put that work in. One of the reasons I show up, 2 hours before the market opens, okay, fine, like almost 3 hours before the market opens, if I'm being honest, it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes before the market opens, is so you can go over as many of these things as you can. Because had I done a little bit more work in the pre-market on Mara, I probably could have come up with that plan. Hey, but by the way, if it breaks that out, let's zoom it out and start thinking about some contingencies and reverse that trade. But you got to put that work in. You can't be, oh, it's coming into my stop, I'm trying to get out, and then thinking about the reverse and trying to do all of that work, looking at the chart, looking for that confluence. You've got to already have put it in. This is what we mean about screen time. Get in there, look at your charts, do your prep work so you have these contingencies in mind. That said, if you miss that trade, it's not over. Why? Because if you ever get stopped out at a level that's a great reversal spot, you've done something right. And a lot of traders get ticked off. I almost said something else. They get ticked off when they make a top or a bottom wick. Me, I don't really freak out about it if you ever watch on the live show, because it's the cost of doing business, and on some level, it means you had the area of interest dead on. If you ever make a top or bottom wick, think about this for a second. The place where you decided to make a decision, where you needed to make a decision, was dead right. The only thing that was wrong was the execution. So if you ever make a top or bottom wick, sometimes it just means you need to give it a little bit more room. But if you stop out and it runs away from that price, it's telling you something about that price. Now look at Mara on the way back into this 20. Even if you don't reverse it here, and I was on the bid and missed it by 5 cents. I suck. And you saw in the live show, I was right here trying to grab it a little bit tighter to my imaginary line there, which you don't anchor yourself to a line like that. It's a mistake. You got to just try to grab it anywhere you can, 10s, 20s. But it dips right back into that previous level, and it gives you a chance for that long. And it's not like you couldn't have seen that coming. Look what happened. There's your top, there's your reversal spot. What happens when it dips back into that same price yesterday? The market likes to repeat itself. It's not always exactly the same, but sometimes it just flat out rhymes. And when it rhymes, you want to be involved. You think it's an isolated incident? Remember PDD? That breakdown? Okay, so it breaks down. You don't reverse that trade. Oh, look at what happens when it pulls back up. Fancy that. It pulls back up, and if you didn't reverse here, it shows you a consolidation underneath there. And that's the confluence you're looking for. With PDD, there was no level on the chart, so I don't think I would have ever reversed. But then it gives you that chance to say, hey, if I was wrong about it, let's own up to that and see if we can't jump back in at the level that we thought was significant. If you're wrong about the stock in the direction, it doesn't mean that the area of interest was dead wrong. If you were smart enough to get out at the key price that saved you some money, then maybe there was something good about that price area that if it comes back to it, you can use it to your advantage. Every single trade you make is a learning experience. Every day that you trade is a learning experience. And if you're either in the market to get better or not. And whether you win or lose, you can always find something that you can learn from. That's today's lesson of the day. You don't always want to reverse every single trade. That can lead to revenge trading. But if you can find that area of confluence where the decision price was perfect, and you might even have a pattern to back it up, then you can either reverse it there or even better, flip the script and have that support turn into resistance and jump into it the other way. I had a couple of examples that today. I always hope, trading's a lonely enough business. I always hope that you can learn from others' mistakes because it saves you some money and hopefully makes you some money in the future. So that's your lesson of the day, when to reverse your trade. Go from long to short, short to long. Be careful when you do it. But sometimes you got that price dead on. You got out for a reason. So listen to yourself. Trust in your levels. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you very much, Neil. Eloquent and informative as always. And I say that every day, but I mean it every day. I want to mention TKO, guys. Shout out to Wainers in the back for alerting me to TKO making big boy moves midday. 6.5% to the high side, as it looks like they have settled a class action lawsuit with some of their former athletes to the tune of about $250 million. $335 million paid out here by TK Group Holdings to former UFC. Doesn't say anything about WWE. It looks as if it's just Ultimate Fighting Championship athletes, and that has the market, settled. I guess that was a contingent liability, holding back, I don't know, investors. Anyway, up and to the right we go. But I was saying to Adair, it seems like we've really kind of topped out here at $86 and 2/3 or thereabouts. I think the HOD right now on TKO is 65. So 1 penny off 2/3, up 6 1/4 more. Let's see if this one mean reverts. It looks like it's starting to curl a little bit here. But what do I know? I thought that DWAC was starting to curl. Nuh-uh-uh. On its way to $45 a dare. DWAC awfully strong on the day. Just when we started saying, look, there's a key area of resistance here at 43.5. It is doing topping tail candles into that $half level. It slaps you right in the face and tells you, you don't know what you're talking about. I know what I'm talking about. And there we go, 44.30 right now, HOD. As this one breaks through the whole dollar level at 44, on its way up, DWAC awfully strong. And Trump did win a bunch of primaries yesterday. There was a whole bunch because I follow him on Instagram, and he kept posting all his victories.
I'm sure that's like a very
one
active
victory
feed,
after.
yeah.
Yes, it is. Especially when he wins. He'll let you know that he wins. Shout out, well, I'm not shouting him out. He doesn't watch me.
Shout out to DWAC?
Shout out to DWAC. Why not? Somebody there was talking about Rumble earlier. Sorry for not super chatting.
Yeah, the super chat. Yeah, I saw
it was
that.
a super chat. Thank you. Rumble up 1.18%. Not really doing much here. DWAC is really the one that we keep eyes on the day. So we'll continue to watch DWAC. And if it starts tanking, tag me, guys. Let me know because I'll be doing this lesson. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
So the measured move pullback is what we're talking about today, and that includes some Fibonacci's. And so let's talk a little bit about what the measured move pullback is. So we talked yesterday about support and resistance pullbacks, and the basics there are fantastic. But what if you want a more precise entry point? And that's what the measured move pullback helps you do, where Fibonacci retracement guidelines, guide your way, okay? Let's go right into that. So just before we begin, we want to really just give the theoretical foundation. It's one quick slide of what the Fibonacci golden ratio is. And this is essentially what it is. Imagine a line segment divided into two parts such that the ratio of the whole segment to the longer part is equal to the ratio of the longer part to the shorter part, right? So this is the golden ratio, and it comes, if you want to quantify it, it's around 1.618. And it's a concept that is found in nature and used by Fibonacci and obviously the people who use the Fibonacci retracements. But what is it in trading? Because that's really what we need to get into here. So Fibonacci in trading, they are retracement levels. They are based on the golden ratio that we just talked about, and they're popular with technical analysis users. They represent potential areas where price retracements might end and the trend resumes. And here's a perfect example. This is the Australian dollar versus the Japanese yen. You can see essentially here the breakout area, and we retrace right back into that green line in the middle, which is the 50% retracement. And then we consolidate at that 38.2 level, which is the 33, thereabouts. Obviously, it's not a third, it's 38.2. Here's how I identify the measured move. So the first step is here, you're looking for a strong move. So the first order of business is you identify a strong price move in the direction of the trend. So first is, what is the trend? Is it up and to the right or down and to the right, or is it consolidative? So that's the first thing you want to identify. And then what direction is the move? Is the move that we're looking at on the day in the direction of the larger trend or against it? You're looking for something in the direction of the trend. So that's step number 2, all right? Step number 3 is to draw the Fibonacci retracement levels, and some of the common ones that we talked about are 38.2, 50, and 61.8. You're gonna draw these levels using your Fibonacci tool on your chart from the starting point of the move and then to the end point. Case in point, 165 is the low end of the range on Apple. 200 is the top end of the range. If you were trying to figure out Fibonacci moves anywhere in there, 200 would be your starting point if you were shorting, or 165 would be your starting point if you were going long, okay? So you're drawing the fib tool, using the fib tool from the starting point to the end point, and then you're gonna get your retracement levels in between that range, okay? And then there's a pullback dance. You gotta wait for the pullback dance, right? So now watch for the price to retrace against the trend, right? Does the pullback find support at one of the earmarked Fibonacci levels, especially if it's a 38.2, a 50, or a 31 point, or 61.8, excuse me, all right? If so, that's a potential measured move pullback. And if it was an uptrend, you'd be looking to go long there. If it was a downtrend, you'd be looking to go short there. And here's a perfect example. Shout out to Adara for putting in a lot of the, or all these, what are they called? Graphics, infographics, okay? So there we go. This is the brush. This bullish thrust was significant as it brought the market out of the tight range, but lo and behold, it comes right back into that 50 and that 61.8% zone before it makes its move and makes higher highs. And this is, I'm not sure exactly what this is, AMD daily between April 23rd, 2016 to June 22nd, 2016. So this is this AMD? AMD was $5 in 2016? Oh my goodness.
What?
Yeah, bro. I waited too long to invest. I suck. Anyway, entering the trade, another very important part, obviously. So if you're going long, what you're doing here, if you see the pullback into the uptrend that reaches the fib retracement levels that we've drawn, it might be a good buying opportunity to go long. Obviously, the opposite is to go short. So conversely, in a downtrend, if the pullback reaches the retracement levels to the high side, this might be a good chance to go short. Here's a case in point. This is the long. So you drop from the bottom, from the top over here. That's your 0 point. This is your starting point. And look where it comes, retraces right down into 61.8. You punch long 61.8. It looks like you're printing to the high side there. All right. Conversely, this is the short. So you're starting from over here and you're drawing to right down there. And then look where it retraces into 50 and it ends up making a newer low. So this is what we call the measured move pullback. Exiting the trade, super important as well. So you're looking for the price, if it's a long, to break above a key area of resistance. That key area of resistance is already known to you. So going back to that Apple example, 165 is the low side, 200 is the high side. So you know, if you've drawn your fib retracement from 65 to 200, you know for a fact that 200 is that level of resistance. So you're gonna wet your beak at 200, if not before it. But like we always say, you know, if you're able to hold a piece of that trade, let it go, maybe it breaks above 200, who knows, maybe it goes to 250, and you wanna participate in that. You don't wanna watch from the sidelines and feel bad about yourself. So leave a piece for the dream, so to speak, okay? Exiting the trade. Below support, obviously, is the same thing for Apple. So if you got short at 200, or if you drew your starting point for the short, Apple 200, and you dragged it down to 165, you know for a fact that 165 is your support level. So if you break 165, or even before you break 165, you should be looking to take profit off the table right there. And then again, you're holding a piece for the dream. Okay. It got downgraded today. Neil.
No, there's another thing on Broadcom. I just saw it.
What's going on with Broadcom, guys? Yeah, Broadcom just jumped up big, guys. From 1245 up to 1268. Broadcom up 2 3/4. It's pumping here. It looks like it might be on its way to 1300. Keep eyes on Broadcom. Midday jump. I don't think we have anything yet, do we, Adira?
I mean, I'm seeing something from 1118. I guess there's some issues that with regards to their acquisition of VMware, but I think a lot of acquisitions generally having issues. That would also not explain this massive move up.
Yeah, can we show
Because look at
Adira's
this move
chart?
up.
Yeah, that's
I don't have
the move up
anything
there
on the
Broadcom.
move up. I have the move on something on the concern over the VMware overhaul sparking regulatory scrutiny. But I mean, you could say that about any acquisition, right? So if I see anything, guys, I will let you know. My Broadcom is typed into my Benzinga Pro, so if anything shows up, I will see it.
Thank you very much, Adira. And don't wait to interrupt me. Just interrupt me
I will.
you
If
get
I see anything, I will. Thank you. I appreciate you saying
because
it.
that's more important. All right, fib extension, profit targets. So not only can you use fibs in the measured move pullback for your entry, areas because of the retracements, but you can also use them as your profit targets. So here's what I mean by that. So Fibonacci retracement levels can also be used for potential profit targets after entering a trade based on a pullback to a retracement level. Some traders look to exit when the price reaches a Fibonacci extension level above the starting point in uptrends or below the starting point in a downtrend. Here's a perfect example of that, right? You get in and you have an entry, but now you draw fibs to see where you want to take profits. Now, we know the first profit target is going to be that key area of resistance. So going back, again, if you got long on Apple, you'd be wetting your beak into 200, if not at 200. But you could also draw the fib from your entry to see where the next level fibs are, where you could look to take profit targets above that 200 level. So not just for entering the trade, but for looking how to exit as well, you can use fibs in the measured move pullback. And here's a little bonus tip, guys. Imagine Fibonacci retracement levels as potential resting points for price action during a pullback. The measured move pullback strategy aims to catch these pauses before the trend resumes. And so one thing I want to say to you guys is, you know, if you're going to do this for a swing trade, or if you're looking at day trade, but you're looking at multiple instruments, have resting orders out at that, you know, that entry level on the retracement. So if you're looking to get 50%, if you're looking to get whatever, 61.8 for a bigger move down, or 31.8 for a bigger move down, have those entry points, but make sure to include stops with them as well. And the measured move pullback, you can leverage fib retracements for more precise entry points during a pullback. Hope that helps. What's the look over there on your side?
Yeah, thank you for going over that lesson. Yeah, the look on my side is I have nothing on Broadcom. If I see anything, I will let you guys know. I looked to see if there was anything regarding Broadcom and NVIDIA, because you know that's been kind of the whole thing du jour is the NVIDIA just casually name dropping these companies and giving them a nice pump up yesterday. I talked about that sometimes in the afternoon. I'll do a segment where I go in the green screen and talk about some of the bigger movements in the S&P 500. And 2 of the 3 names on that yesterday were NVIDIA related pumps. So I'll put it that way. That could be what's happening. I literally have no news, though. If I do see anything, you guys will all be the first to know. Also, I have to extricate myself from Google because this one got way below in my area here. I got involved. I was going to give this only a few pennies. I was going to basically get out when we got to this kind of top of that earlier range here, that 147.52. So we gave this a cool 8 cents. And I was going to try to take it to the top of that range. But
Apple.
Google decided it wanted to. Apple?
Apple's going.
Oh my gosh, why everything's going and there's no reason why. That's crazy. What's happening with Apple? I'm not seeing any.
I'm not seeing anything either.
Me neither. Whew, Apple. But yeah, I mean, I do have some trades in NVIDIA that I want to talk about. I'm staying away from this name for the rest of the day, and I mean it, because I also have way too many lines in this. I'm going to have to probably try to delete those. But anyways, basically, I want to talk about this. I had this short earlier. I got involved at 886, right? Or 885.50. I was going to get out if we got to 886. I had enough for 2 beak wetters. Took out my first beak wetter at 885, no problem. Then I was going to wait and see what we did. We get to 884.50 and I accidentally add to the position. I tried to punch out right away, wouldn't let me. Then I said, you know what, Adira, stay calm. Try to stay calm. That's the big thing I'm trying to learn about in trading is Be like Sharif's friend Alfred and be dead. You know, you have to trade like you're dead inside, which is actually really good advice. And also Alfred was awesome when he came over here. But I do try to use that advice with his. Also, his three-piece suits were very cool.
Yeah.
But all that all aside, I was like, if we break above 886, get out with all of it. We did not break above 886, but we did do something kind of weird. So we got to I was trying to get out at 884. 84.50, that was, you know, still the area. We just could not get out. Then we get below, and I was literally whispering to myself, I'm like, NVIDIA, what are you doing, girl? Because I wouldn't get filled. I ended up getting out at like 883.80 or something. So it was better than I wanted, but it still stressed me out because I wasn't following my plan because the stock spread was so insane. Then I tried to short this again, and I was, it's hard with the wicks here. So we got it at 884.50. If we get above 885, I leave. We don't get above 885. I had a beak wetter set, ready to go, locked and loaded. So I think I got it was 884.60. I was going to take 880s. We didn't get to 880s. We got, 880, I meant 883. I apologize. 883. I was going to take, the point I'm trying to make is I was going to take like 60 cents. We didn't end up taking 60 cents because, again, I would not get filled. I ended up getting out below 883s. So, again, I can't be upset because I did better than I expected, but I also can't be that proud because a lot of this was just because of the weird spread on NVIDIA. So, long story short, I'm happy with the trades. I'm happy they worked out, and the setup was still correct on them. I just, this spread here, if I get involved in NVIDIA, I will be doing an NVDL type move. Shout out to Sharif. No jokes, because honestly, this spread it was so stressful trying to get filled, knowing you have your order set and being like, why the heck am I still here? Because you want to secure your profits, and you can't if NVIDIA is not letting you. It's like choking you there, right? So that's my take. As dramatic as that sounds, and as I know it was, this NVIDIA, the spread a little bit too much for me right now. NVDL might be where it's at.
Yeah.
Why
not?
Right? Why not? Yeah, because I'm happy with these trades. I'm proud of these trades.
Good.
But I also don't like how stressful they were with the spread.
100%.
How are you doing? What are
you
you
know
looking
what's
at?
very spready right now? It's perfect time to talk about it. AVGO. I'm talking about a $3 spread, guys. Well, I mean, that's not to be, we're not shocked about that. It's a $1,270 name, right? So it's going to be a bit spready. Right now, it's a $2 spread. It expands and tightens as the price action comes in and out. We don't have a catalyst yet, guys, on AVGO. We will keep eyes on it. It's up 3 1/5 on the day. It's up 2 2/3 since the bell. But look, I mean, the shares. The amount of shares done obviously is going to be a little bit lower because it's a more expensive name. We're talking about 1.4 million shares, so definitely a little suspect still there, okay? Now, the thing that I'm looking at, MARA. Right before Neil started dropping hot lines, we brought on BPI, Big Patty Ice, to talk about his trades on Mara today, and he had several bangers. And on our way down now into the volume-weighted average price, it's the first time we've been at VWAP since 10 a.m., right? So I want to see what we do at this exact level over here, which is $20 and a third, $20.36. Right now, we're coming in at $20.40 and change, okay? I'm not going to punch in willy-nilly at VWAP, expecting it to hold up. I need to see it, print a couple of green candles, get it on the back end, as my friend Neil likes to say. It has to show you that it has intentions of holding up at that level. Now, that could manifest itself in several different ways, right? It doesn't have to be a succession of candles with higher highs and higher lows that curl and show you a rounded bottom. Shout out to Big Caliber Debt. No, it could be a it could be a hammer candle,
That's
right?
true, yeah.
It could be a hammer candle to show you, look, no, buyers are stepping in right at this level. So it's not just one chart pattern that we're looking for. There could be several different manifestations of support at that level. So eyes on MARA at this moment. I want to see if it holds up at the volume-weighted average price. Right now, it's doing the dance with VWAP. I'm not punching in at these levels. I need to see more proof. So we'll hang out. We'll see exactly what we get there. The Katina Man is short crypto. He's short IBIT, so shout out to the Katina Man. Maybe we have to rethink this MARA trade. The Katina Man often puts his new positions in the chat. So if you're not keeping eyes on the chat during the midday, you may be missing out on the Katina Man's trades, okay? Did you go for a walk and talk? There was no talk? Just a walk. Okay, so no walk and talk, guys.
I like the gesture there, too, the walk.
Well, he was a mouthful. That's
yeah,
fine.
no, I enjoyed it. We could read it. That's
yeah, exactly. Right?
He's like,
we're walking along. Right now, Mara doing a couple of wick shimmies off VWAP. So if I give up, 15, 20 pennies here on MARA because I'm not punching exactly at the volume weighted average price, that's fine with me. Let's see if Mara wants to bounce here off VWAP.
Yeah, hopefully it gives you a nice little marathon opportunity there to run the marathon with it. Also, yeah, I apologize for the speed at which I did that NVIDIA coverage, guys, earlier. It's just that, yeah, I was trying to cover the intensity of that stock and how it was moving, because that was honestly one of the most bamboozling, just really the right word, experiences I've had, where it took me like a good $1 to get filled. So yeah, that was kind of why I was all excited there. So I apologize. These markets do get me very energized, as I've said. Also, TKO, you were saying that this looked like a short. I think it could be a short, because I initially was trying to play the range. Sharif pulls this up, and the first thing I say is, I see a range, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think it might be more of a short opportunity, because look, we're having these lower highs, definitely. We're curling down. I won't have a read on this, though, because we have a spread of about 11 cents. And after that NVDA bamboozlement, I'm going to have to probably say hands off for these larger spreads. So there we go. That's kind of, that's my take on TKO. And yeah, let's look at Tesla, though, too, because honestly, after the NVIDIA situation, I can't even call her Stressla. That would be just cruel. Tesla is, compared to NVIDIA, let's say NVIDIA is like, I don't know, speeding on the highway. Tesla's at a nice gait, at a nice jaunt, a nice trot. Tesla is moving much more calmly, and Tesla's also respecting these chart levels. So I want to talk about this for a moment here. I should have gotten involved. I was going to take that short off of that failure of that 172.60, and I didn't, and I have no reason to not do that, so I can kick myself a little bit. I guess I was too busy dancing with danger, aka NVIDIA. But this, yeah, if we come to fall off this 172.20 area, I think that'd be a nice short. However, this 9 EMA short also looks like it could be happening. I'm going to be watching what we do at 172.20, and then I will be getting out of the trade if we get to 172.50, trying to take it until about 172.80, or 171.80, sorry. So it's about 30 penny risk for 40 penny reward. I don't usually do like risk to reward ratios like that. It's just kind of like levels I like. So that's my take on that one for sure. Solji saying we're going to be pumping soon. I think there could be a bit of a pump opportunity happening. Also, Broadcom, Barclays reinstates overweight on Broadcom, announces 14.05 price target at 12.34.
I see that.
That's all I'm really kind of seeing on that.
You're
so,
bang on. That's exactly it. That came in midday. Typically, we don't have these analyst upgrades or downgrades midday. They do come in the morning usually, and that's why Adara brings them to you in the morning. But his analyst, Tom O'Malley, reinstates Broadcom with an overweight, and as Adara said, $1,400 and $1,405 PT there, which is not much of an upside. I mean, yeah, it's look. I mean, sometimes they have price target upgrades below the current price, so I'm not really that shocked.
It's based on math sometimes too, right? Like they're like analyzing. Like that's what you can tell when they change the price from like, let's say, and this is a total example, like 177 to 182.75. That's how you can tell they're mathing it, right? I guess so that makes sense. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna give it to you for a sec. I have to put my stop out on MARA.
Yes. Also, there is a super chat for you from Kyle Burdett, but I'll let you read those because I know you have the whole, you and Big Kyle. Also, yeah, shout out to Kyle Burdett because I know you were saying I was snorting when you had that shout out there with the rounded bottom. I thought it was funny. I was snorting out of humor. I was doing my little, amused snort there, or chortle, or whatever you want to say. Also, I would be pleased as punch, tickled pink, any word you want to say for amused and pleased if Tesla gets that 172.20 area, or 172.22. We got there, and then we skirted away. That's where I'm trying to get involved. I still think the short is valid. I just need it to be nice to me. I see you were involved in a trade.
Big Kyle Burdett, $5 super chat. Thank you very much, my man. It's like his umpteenth super chat on the day. Sharif, AMD volume alarm and 175.50 alarm had me running to the house for better service. Get low, baby. If you see Big Kyle running... Oh, God, I like that. Why, Kyle? Because, that's such a good trade. I like it. I literally looked over to the Katina Man, I don't know, a minute ago, and I said, Katina Man, AMD's dumping. The Katina Man is long TSLA, by the way. I want to update you guys on that. But we're getting a bit of a bounce right now on what's going on. Oh, A-Lab is open? Okay, so, guys, A-Lab... the floor was yelling. This is the new, what's it called? IPO that we have today. Here it is. This is A-Lab. It just went up to 53. It's down to 50.77. Is it halting? No. Okay, so this one's not updated for me. I have to add this. ALAB. There we go. Shift enter. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to be able to see the actual price action. Sorry for this, guys, but you know there's no. I mean, this is the only price action we have on it. Let's go to the 1 minute. See what we got. Yeah. So right now we're dancing here in the mid 50s. Here comes 53. Are we going to break 53? 53 is the high a day. So let's maybe load it up on an actual trading screen. I have to do so many things. Can you just take over for a second?
Yes, I can. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's see what's happening with the A-Lab. Right now, we're watching Tesla. We got filled in Tesla. If we get above that 172.50 area on Tesla, we are getting out of the Cybertruck. Sean, I see some buttons. What is happening?
I'm on Tesla with you.
Oh, I'm short Tesla.
Bang.
Oh, oops.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, whenever I get in one way and then Sean says he's going the other way, I'm always like, I've made a grave error. If anyone's seen Arrested Development, I've made a huge mistake. That's always what I'm thinking when I hear that. But
171.8.
171.8, that's where I was going to take profit out for the short. So the levels are the same. The direction may be incorrect. But if we get above that 172.50, I am outie. And it looks like I will be getting pushed out of that Cybertruck. Shout out to Sean, though, killing it. Now 50 cents in the money.
It, Katina, man.
So $half club. I guess $1 soiree, $1 dinner party, because we're halfway there to the club. So nice job there. Congrats to Sean. We'll have to see how this goes on this TSLA. How long till rates at s'il vous plaît, says Boho Girl. I love your name. And we will find out at 2 o'clock Eastern time.
Bang.
So if you're here with us, we have in an hour and 20 minutes, we will find out. And then I'm going to try to do this in a straight face because Shreve always kills it. Papa Powell taking the mic at 2:30.
Dropping hot lines.
Dropping hot lines. That's what it is. He will be dropping hot lines on maybe some hot inflation. We know we had hot inflation last week, so I'm really curious what he'll have to say on that. Because I know some of the Fed, I believe it was Goolsbee last time we had a hot CPI print being like, oh, it could have been a blip, so we'll have to see. We'll also have to see what's happening here. I see some beak wetters.
Yeah, took out some there on Mara, but you know we're still hovering around VWAP, so I'm not really happy with this trade quite yet. It's got to get up a lot higher than where we are. But, you know, we should probably play some sort of drinking game for when he says higher for longer or data dependent. I think all of us would be inebriated immediately, right? Because, you know, he has a way of saying that over and over and over. Guys, something's going on with Apple here, and I don't know exactly what it is. It's at high a day. There's nothing on my blotter to justify this move on Apple. Completely counter market. It's moving independently here. We're not seeing anything relatable to the move on Apple. It's at high a day right now. One big move up into 176 3/4, 176.77 HOD at the moment on AAPL, up 1/3%, so nothing really, you know, exciting, but we have to mention AAPL over here because it did break above yesterday's key area of resistance, and that would be 176.60. We are still not at that big boy pump that we got to on the day they announced their new partnership with Google. 177 3/4 or thereabouts is going to be the high that we put in on Monday. So we're still not there, but look at this, successively higher lows, and maybe not necessarily higher highs yet, but the higher lows definitely in play on the day. So keep eyes on AAPL. And I'm just going to let this this Mara trade, we're 20 pennies in the money on this MARA trade, but I've got my beak wetter. Thanks, guys. I've got my beak wetter hanging out at 2070. So if we can make it away from the volume weighted average price, which we've been hanging out now at for a little bit, that would just be aces. Mara gods, if you hear me, let's go, bro. Let's go back to TKO. This one's still, you know, at the top. Let's take off Apple here, and I want to put in the A-Lab because we have to cover that. All right, because this is the IPO. So it's up 49%, guys. And now, look, the actual IPO price, $36, okay? That's not the open price. That's what these guys bought it at, the people who were offered the shares through the investment bank. I don't know who underwrote this. You know, Goldman's always involved or some way or another, but A-Lab right now, $55 HOD. It's trading at 54 2/3 right now. To me, I don't know how to trade these. I know the big kahunas know how to trade them. I don't. I have nothing off which to base levels. And that's how I trade. I base everything off previous levels. And obviously on an IPO, you have nothing. except what's traded in the minutes before you. So ALAB at 50, it's near highs, right? It's at 55 bucks here. There's size at 55. There's obviously a hidden seller, sorry, at 55. You can tell there's not enough size on the book here to justify the halt to the move to the upside, but we'll have to wait and see if that whole dollar level gets taken out. Big move up here for ALAB, up 52% on the day, Adair.
Yeah, congrats to you on that, Mara. That is
Thank you.
beautiful. She's taken her, her little moves in the marathon to the upside there. And I also like that profit taker area. So.
We're hanging out. We're hanging out. Hopefully we get it.
Yeah, just trying to hype it up there for you, pamping it.
Pamp it.
Pamp. But yeah, so also something that looks like it's pamping, even though I am in a short, is Mr. Tesla. Stocks do not care about your feelings. Tesla does not care about your feelings, but I care about Sean's feelings. So shout out to Sean and congrats to Sean for that long, because that is killing it now. We are good 70 pennies in the money on that. And with that, I am leaving the Cybertruck and shutting the door behind me, closing the door. Shout out to Jerome Powell. Pardon?
There's room in his Cybertruck, he says. I love it. At least they opened the door for you, Adair.
Yeah, I mean, they opened the door. Jerome Powell closes the door. So
Shut the door.
Yeah, that was one of the best hot mic moments maybe ever. That's okay. Yeah, we're out of Tesla right now. I'm going to have to wait and see what happens here. We did break above that 172.50. So if that level kind of comes back into play, we'll see. But you know what level I like?
What?
That 172.60. I've been talking about 172.66 on Tesla ad nauseum. And look at the weird magnetism we had at this level earlier.
Excellent.
Then we wick down and we come back up. So this to me is a really fun level. And that was what propelled me to get out of that long earlier, albeit a little late. But you know what I mean? To me, the hold that level had, also, we were dancing it in the pre-market. So we're going to have to see if this level comes back into play. My stop loss on Tesla, Joel Freston, was, that was so many S's, like stop loss on Tesla, Joe Freston. Yeah, anyways, it's poetry over here. I'm joking. I got out at 172.50. I gave it about 30 pennies. So that was the loss on that. And I chose that loss because that was the area that would have been a newer high. That would have been a higher high. That's why I chose it. And yeah, so hopefully that makes some sense there. Chase Band saying, Mara, I will not cheat on you, which I love that. I think you might have been the person who was suggesting earlier, marrying Mara. So nice look on that. How are you feeling about
Man,
Mara?
60 pennies is acting as a legit resistance level right now on MARA. It's not in the strict sense, but all the wicks into 60 are all being sold off. Here we go. 66 is printing now. Can we see some 70s, please? Because I'm hanging out at 70s, and that just would be very ideal. Maybe, I don't know. I've heard the big kahunas complain to the stocks before, and they ended up getting printed. So I was like, why not? I'll give it a try.
Where's the time?
Yeah, right there. There we go. All right. So nice. Now we're printing, baby. All right, we're gonna spin a 30 penny winner. That's big for me. I mean, it's not big for the big kahunas, but that's big for me on MARA. We got bottom wick, and that made me feel really good about myself on that one. Well, because we were looking for the defend on VWAP. It was a very structured trade. We waited for the retracement into the volume weighted average price. It's up big on the day. It's up over 7%. So the trend was to the high side. Still holding a little piece here. If we could run a little bit higher on MARA, maybe into that even dollar level. If I get lucky, I'm talking about 21 bucks or thereabout. Very small size left here on Mars. So we're going to let this one go. If it comes against us, it comes against us. We'll look to flatten out at break even. Break even is 37 pennies. We're printing 75s now. So we'll see what we get on MARA. But let's talk about Apple. We have to talk about Apple here because it did retrace a little bit off that 77s that it printed. AAPL. Yes, I know the ticker at Apple. And now we're put. What's going on, Katina, man? Tesla's continuing to print, so we're on our way. Looks into 172 2/3. Shout out to the Katina man, baby. Tesla looking to create higher lows there at pivot point. So 171 1/4 was the trough of this latest move. Now we're about 172 1/4 or thereabouts, so buck off that trough. But to move back to Apple here, this is, I want to see what this 5-minute candle looks like. So if we have a hammer candle that closes on the 5-minute chart on Apple, that will be awfully bullish. And what I would be inclined to do is to take the first 5-minute candle to make a newer high off this 5-minute candle here. That is if it closes as a hammer candle. I want to see bullishness in the price, in the chart, the candlesticks. I already see bullishness on the chart. We're up 0.25%. Higher lows, higher highs. We'll see exactly what we get here on AAPL, but I could be persuaded definitely into a trade on this name. Okay, so ALAB, what's happening, ALAB? What happened, guys? A-Lab? A-Lab, okay, yeah. A-Lab just tanked off 55.89. Down goes A-Lab. I feel like I'm a boxing commentator.
Yeah.
Down goes Tyson. No, it's not going to be down goes Tyson. It's going to be down goes Paul. Let's go. No, I don't really care who wins. I just want to watch it. No, here we go. So on the way down, below 54 bucks, A-Lab is, yeah, it's a bamboozler. What can you say about A-Lab, Adara? It's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, A-Lab very much bamboozling. Also bamboozling, though, is the little engine that could, Boeing. Renata, shout out to you saying Boeing's at high of days. And I mean, honestly, 3% to the upside, negative catalysts, Boeing. Good for you, Boeing, I guess. I mean, not good for what they do, mind you, not good for how the planes are happening, but good for the stock. I'll put it that way. Look at this 184 rejection becoming support. We reject it, and then look at the support we find here. I love that. Along the 90 EMA. Then we have more resistance becoming support at this 185.20, such a specific level, but look at how long we see support there. Then we see some resistance at 186, then we go above that. Defying gravity is Boeing, which makes sense because it's a plane and that's what they should be doing. Yes, Boeing, that is a bit of a subtweet at you. So in all seriousness, make sure that you followed those FAA guidelines. And really nice look in the stock. If anyone's long this or not, I don't know if you're long this, but congrats to you if you are, because what a look. And honestly, the support at this range area at 185.20 to 186 makes me very displeased as punch that I didn't look at this. Joel Freston saying that BA was at a crazy support level this morning. I know Neil and Sean were talking about this level on Boeing. I mean, let's. Okay, yeah, this is very nice. I mean, look at that. We had this like little kind of chop and turn for the last couple of days, shooting to the upside. One level I will absolutely be watching at Boeing is look at this pseudo flat bottom break we had in the daily, starting January 16th, ending with that break below 200 on March 8th. So to me, this is, and lower highs the whole time. So I think this is a really interesting look for Boeing. What we do at 200, beyond the fact that it is an even dollar level, and possibly, I guess it's part and parcel with the fact that it's even dollar level. It's like, what are we putting first, the cart or the horse? But I think what we do at 200, A, because of that flat bottom break and that massive break of support earlier, and B, because it is a $200 level, I think will be a really, really interesting look here for B to the A. I think this is going to be really worth keeping an eye on here. Also, AMD, I see some mentions of AMD.
Dizzle?
Yeah, I've been a little AM distant from the stock today, and I don't really know why, because we did have the one successful short on this guy. Yeah, right, like we just kind of took it off that 180.50 into that 180 and a little bit south of 180. But look at this, if this range holds up here, 174, what is this, 174.65 to 175.30, highly specific numbers, but if they hold up, I'm actually okay with this range. I want to wait though, because these candles are so bamboozling. We get a wick up into almost 176, we reject. Earlier, we had a wick down into almost 174, and we reject. So this will be very much a small share size scalp type of tango if I do decide to AM dance with AM Danger.
A-Lab back into high a day. Just printed a new one, 55.80, okay? The prior one, I believe, was 70. So another 10 penny high. But this thing is, okay, number one, the spread is 20 pennies. So that's an issue in and of itself. The other thing is that it's moving wild. It's absolutely wild. The volume, we've been open since what time? Let me tell you. 12:39, okay? So we've been open less than 20 minutes. We've already done almost 7 million shares. There goes the high a day, 56 incoming. 56 is now the new high a day. 55.90 is where we're printing. 56 on the ask. Hidden seller again on the ask, can't move above 56 with no size. Let's see, do we move above 56 now? There's not really, there it goes. I'm looking at the book to see if there's size moving up with us on the bid to backdrop the eventual huadunk that seems to come in every time. So right now, yeah, I'm not seeing, the only size I see is like 50. Yeah. This is, I mean, I'm covering this, but I'm never going to trade this. I shouldn't say never, but I'm probably not going to trade this. 56 bucks, 72 cents. High, we're 56.50. Now we're 57% to the good right now. So keep eyes on A-Lab. I mean, again, I don't know how to trade these, so I'm not going to tell you anything that I don't understand. So leaving that one out. What's up?
I just noticed the little beak wetter, and I was very happy.
Yes,
yeah.
Mara is continuing to go. What's up, Katina, man? TSLA up into 173 region. Tesla, the Katina man is long at He's $1 in the money right now. 171.82. 84. 17. Big deal. Yeah, we're talking about pennies here, Katina, man. Fantastic trade for Sean on TSLA. Great hold off pivots. 171.75 was pivots on my chart, and it absolutely held at that level. Why am I talking about it? Let me show you exactly what I mean. Here's Tesla's look right now, and the green dotted line on my chart, as you guys will know, are pivot points, and it held up beautifully at that level, and then up we go again. Let's keep eyes on 173.50. Why? Because that's where we crested out last time. It was a key area of resistance. Number one, the institutional print at 8 a.m. went to 73.50, okay? And then the actual price action after the bell went into that level as well. Now, I know that there's all sorts of theories and conspiracy theories about the institutional prints that come in at 8 a.m. I don't know exactly what to make of them, but you know, when they seem to have confluence with the actual price action that we see on the day, you know, you can't help but use them. So the institutional print at 8 a.m., exactly where we crested out there at around 11:10, 11:15 or so on TSLA. But Apple, okay, Apple, I see you. Now it dipped into the 10 period here on AAPL, and it's making another attempt back up. So Apple awfully strong on the day relative to the other markets, and directional. Apple is directional in a time where you're really at a loss for direction for some of these Mag 7 names. So 176.77 is the high. We're printing in the low 60s right now. A beautiful bounce off the 10 period, a bit of a hammer candle, not exactly a hammer candle, off the 10 period, and up we go to make a new high, but we're still off that HOD. Good look for right now on Apple. Look at Tesla go. Shout out to you, Katina, man. Here comes 173. Probably see 173.50 here with the higher lows. Yeah, Tesla looking awfully good. And I was just talking about lack of direction. Well, Tesla's giving you some direction, baby. So, yeah, I'll have to rethink my statement there. Let's flip back into small cap gapper world. Anything moving to my liking? Everything fading off. Even Donkey Kong. I'm buying Donkey Kong, talking about DraftKings.
I always read it like that too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, the big kahunas call it Donkey Kong, so I just stole it from them.
The DKNG. Like when I first saw it, I was like, yeah.
It's been down and to the right. It didn't even hold up that view up a dare. Look at this retracement of view up. It doesn't even stop. So now trying to hold above 44 bucks. That's where the 200 period is, and that's where the high end of the pre-market consolidation at that $44 area. Could $44 be an area of support here on Donkey Kong? Let's keep eyes on this one. But DWAC still near highs. So DWAC has not given up the ghost. It's consolidative a bit right now. It looks like more like, it's looking more and more like a Dara Panera trade here, baby.
It is actually.
43 to the low side, saving except for these wicks over here. And then you have 44 thereabouts to the high side. So a bit consolidative, but consolidating at the highs, not the lows or the midpoint. So good luck here. This could actually break up higher if we get some volume. So good luck on some of these names.
Thank you. I appreciate that call out for the Adara Panera type trade there at DWAC. I'm going to have to take a look at that. I was thinking about that earlier, actually. Then I was like, Adara, it's DWAC. So, you know, you want to be careful. I will take a look at that again. I did, though, take a bite out of the apple at that 9 EMA area that you talked about with regards to that 176.50. I was actually in this before that happened. But yeah, thank you for bringing this one up, because honestly, this is not a name I look at a lot. So thank you for bringing up that Apple trade. I took it because we did have previous support. If we break below, we're going to give this about 10 pennies. So if we break into that 176.45 area.
Hold on. Somebody's taking a momentum trade here?
Yeah, but I'm taking it to the top of the range.
Yeah, but still a momentum trade.
Okay, that's true.
It's still a momentum trade. It's breaking up into the right. All right. Someone's doing momentum trades now. Okay.
We're trying.
All right.
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel like I'm copying the style there. But yeah, I'm just really just trying to see and trying to broaden my horizon. You know what I mean? That is what makes me nervous, and that this is more of a momentum trade and not really the type that I normally take. But I do think, and that's why with these types of trades, if I take a momentum trade, I'm always going to get most of, if not all of the profits, in this case, all of them, because I have a really small position at that previous high. So for me, high of day is at 176.77. So with these Mag 7s, I like to give them a little bit of wiggle room. So we're getting out 176.73.
Gotcha.
So there we go. But yeah, thank you for that trade. I appreciate, appreciate the support for my attempt at momentum trading here, because you're right, this is very momentum-y. We had momentum. We had that wick to the downside saying that sellers told buyers, or buyers told sellers, which is that candle wick made me feel really emboldened. And so we did step in here trying to get Tim cooking. So I think
Like
that's
it.
interesting. I also do think that catalyst with Tim Cook going to China
Yeah.
is really interesting with regards to some of the weakness that company has been having in China in recent months, right?
Oh,
There's
I
a
wonder
lot
if
of
it has anything to do with that.
pardon?
I wonder if this move up has anything to do with him.
They could. I mean, I know that was coming earlier.
He has a Weibo account. Did you
Apparently,
know
he
this?
was posting on his Weibo.
He's
I did see
posting
that.
on Weibo. He has Chinese social media accounts. This guy, bro. Well, I mean, it's the biggest market, second biggest market for him. He's got to have presence there.
I just think it's cool that he has it though.
Yeah.
He's going to make sure that everyone knows his thoughts on his trip. So
Yeah.
I mean, cool guy. Shout out to Tim Cook, and I'm very curious to see what you have Tim cooking for June with your potential AI announcement there. Tim, we know about the Darwin AI acquisition last week. I think that's certainly probably an interesting look for Apple investors. I know you are a fan of Apple as well in general. So
of course.
yeah, really interesting look there on that.
I want to mention Bears versus Bulls. He's like, I use Weibo. No. I see what you're doing there. I said Weibo. Different company than Weibo. But yeah, of course, I knew you knew that. Oleg wants me to have a look at NEO. Speaking of Chinese ADRs, here's NEO. So Oleg, your comment, let me read it out. NEO, nice algo buy. As Tesla team up, it can squeeze. Okay, let's have a look at NEO on the day. What is the percentage increase on NEO? So now we're down 1.5% here on NEO. Lee is up 2%, XBEV down almost 4%. I'm assuming this is a bit of, sell the pop on XBEV after it got that big bump up on Monday because they announced these hypothetical cars that they're going to be cheap, which we don't know anything about, by the way. And that sent Li Auto down like 15% or whatever it was, 17% that day, trying to recuperate now. But with respect to NEO, Oleg, these are not my style of trades at all. But if I had to say something here, $5.14 double top. There couldn't break through that ever since the Huadunk on the open there. Now, 514 as a resistance level, in addition to the level that I think you'll get at 519. 519 is the closing print. It's also the consolidation area low for this morning, the pre, and into the close yesterday. That was the level that we couldn't break below. So now if it was support, likely it's going to flip to resistance. 519, that is if you can get above 514. There are trades to be had, Oleg, I think also off 508. Look at what we did at 508 earlier in the day. We were using $5.08 as a key area of resistance. Sure, you had wicks through 508 into 509, but look where the closing prints are. They're all below 508. That is until 1045 came along and we broke above the volume weighted average price. And then surprise, surprise, we started using 508, not as resistance this time, but as support. How many times have we said that? So if it makes its way down, Oleg, into 508, 509, that could be sort of a buyout style trade where you're taking big size at one level and then looking to move 1 or 2 pennies higher or lower. This is kind of what we look at when we're doing buyout trading here on the floor. Not that I do much of that anyway these days, but that's kind of the look here. I don't have much other than that, Oleg. Sorry. I know you're one of the OGs there in the chat, but there's not much I can help you because it's just not my style of trade. All right, Mara's coming back down now into the $0.50. We had 2 rejections, Ram, at $20.70. Can't get through that. Now we're printing lower highs. So that long that I have there at 37s, I may have to rethink that. There's no point of me watching the whole thing come back in, even though I'm holding micro size, right? Let's see what we get. I think I might put it at 39. If it breaks that 40 penny level, maybe I'll get out of this one. But it looks like it's a dead cat bounce off the volume weighted average price. And for whatever reason, we're getting a bit of a rejection level in front of that $0.75. And now it's breaking down below the $0.50. So Mara coming in a little bit here. Who's surprised with that? Not me. Let's see what the chat is up to. I haven't been looking at the chat in a minute. Xander Patty says Tesla, yep, 173 rejection on TSLA, but above the volume weighted average price. Shout out to you. And the Katina man, who's also in that trade with you as well. Let's see what else people are talking about here. Will Wu says Weibo is X. Well, I mean, if you want to make the North American equivalency, I guess. But my understanding is Weibo is kind of like, isn't it their social media?
I thought it was its own thing.
Yeah.
I thought.
Because I know there's, so hold on. Will, is Weibo, does it own WeChat? Let me know. Tag me in the chat if you can, Will, because you look like you know some of this stuff. I mean, I can Google it, but if you just tell me, it'd be easier. What else we got? What are you looking over there, Adara?
A very intense AMD short. Don't you love it when you have an exit set and it gets just a hair away from your point of exit, and then it leaves you behind? That's what happened with AMD. We were trying to get out 175.04. We get to 175.06 and we bounce. And so I'm a little bit upset. I don't want to say bitter, but that also could maybe be an accurate descriptor if I'm being incredibly honest with you here. We took a really small position here. We're just going to try to get out here. Come on, AMD, be nice to me. Don't do it. Don't do the opposite of what NVIDIA did and keep me kind of hostage in this trade, except for NVIDIA ended up actually working in my favor. This would not. So we are, how are we doing with AMD now? We're still up on the name. I'm trying to look less at my P&L, so
nice.
Nay to me for that, just looking now. But yeah, I didn't take this trade based on P&L, right? Because I did have that positive trade earlier. I really did think we'd get a dip because also I noticed even with all these candles, we always had a dip into 175. I guess, you know, it gave it a little bit too much wiggle room, too much room to fly. I should have just been cutting it off at 175.10. But you know what? Don't, I'm not going to sit here regretting it. Don't cry over spilt shares. It happened. Happy I managed it. I want to talk about Apple. I was really happy with this trade. And yeah, you're right. It is more of a momentum trade. You're right as well, Sharif. So
yeah,
this is a bit more of a risky move for me. We did actually make a new high, 1 cent higher, 1 cent above the original high of 176.77. Now we're at 176.78. If there's actually another dip around this 90 EMA, I might get back in this and just keep trading this to the top of the range. The range is getting tighter, but if you take it with enough size, because I took a bit of a smaller position here, just because I was trying to wet my proverbial beak into this type of trade, because I'm not, as you said, momentum trading is not always my style. So I think it was kind of fun to switch it up. Honestly, Apple, you keep bouncing here at 176.65, you might tempt me. I might get back in. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. It is still on my side chart and still in my mind and my thoughts. Let's see here.
Yeah, thank you guys for everybody in the chat letting me know exactly that it's Tencent that owns WeChat. And I did know that. It just, you know, I don't remember everything always. Weibo is traded in North America. It is it's on the NASDAQ. It's an ADR, obviously. It trades under the ticker WB. It's done nothing today. It's down 0.86, almost negligible volume on the day. What has it done? It's done 883,000 shares. So that gives you the idea there that it's not doing anything. And, you know, the fact that Tim Cook, you know, posted on it is not going to move this stock. Anyway, so just want to mention that WB on the NASDAQ is Weibo. All right, I was just about to take out this Mara trade because I was like, all right, well, it's coming down into 2040 and I don't really want to give the whole thing back. And then as I was just about to put in the order, it popped up into 60s. So it's maintaining that higher low trend. However, the higher high trend, which is a decisive break and hold above that $0.75 area, I'm talking about 2075, isn't coming into fruition. So, you know, whether that comes eventually or whether I'm going to have to take it out here in the mid-60s, low 70s, just to wet, again, my beak there, we'll have to wait and see. But seeing what we get here, I was thinking maybe 2080 even or somewhere thereabouts, but for whatever reason, it's that 2070 area. Well, we could owe it to this. This was an obvious support level earlier, so it could flip to resistance as well over here, even though you have perfunctory breaks. We're looking at the 1 minute chart. So, you know, what looks like a 3-candle dip below 2070 is essentially a wick on a 5 minute chart, right? So we have to put things into context. So 2070 is a resistance level, it looks like here, the consolidation area bottom. That's why we're having trouble breaking through it. So that's fine. That doesn't mean it's not going to break through. All right, what else we got? What else we got? Oh, let's look at AMD because we were talking about AMD being weak. People were yelling about AMD in the chat earlier.
Yeah, it was really weak earlier.
Yeah, it was down and to the right. Well, it's still looking like a hockey stick pattern over here where it comes down, then it consolidates sideways. It's trying to do the dance right now with 176, coming into 176 off that 174.25 LOD, low of day. AMD. Now, What are the levels on this? Well, it's rejecting right now what looks to be at the 10-period EMA. Now it's rejecting it quite aggressively, coming down below 175.50. So number one, can we get above and hold above the 10 EMA? We haven't been above the 10 EMA on a closing basis since this candle over here. That takes us to 11:05. So that was 2 hours ago. More than 2 hours ago was the last time we closed above the 10 EMA. So first, let's see what we do with the 10 EMA. If it rejects, then maybe we can look short. But what I see here are a series of bottoming tail candles, each successively with a higher low. So that typically means that buyers are starting to win the competition here with sellers, because number one, you're getting bottoming tail candles, which are a sign of bullishness. And then in addition to that, you're getting successively higher lows on each one of those candles. So maybe we shouldn't be so quick to want to pull the short trigger on AMD here. Maybe this is a long, and we have a nice possible retracement into 178.5. That's where VWAP is hanging out. Questions to be asked here. It's a counter trend trade. You're not going to probably catch me going long on this because it's so down the day, over 3%. But right now, it's kind of trying to fight and trying to stay above the 10-period. AMD weak, but I think it's trying to make a move here, as with some of these Mag 7 names. I mean, we saw Tesla trying to go back up. We saw Meta, Apple as well, Softy as well. We didn't trade much at Softy, Adair, but it had a nice double bottom off that 421 area today that we completely negated to mention. So, yeah. What are you looking at over there?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Apple, I did get back in. And this reminds me, this is why I'm not a momentum trader, is because I know, like, you are, like, so calm. You and Neil and Sean, so calm as stocks get the high of day. Me, I'm like, oh, my God, we're near the high of day. Oh, my God, like, just trying to stay cool here. I'm going to be really honest. I was weirdly probably calmer in that NVIDIA bamboozlement where I would not get filled than I am right now. So as funny as that might sound, Apple, though, we're holding up exactly at my point of entry. I have no reason in a rational sense to be freaking out, so I'm going to calm down. Someone earlier today was just saying stay chill in the chat, so I'm going to try to stay chill. I'm going to try to slow down, cool out. We're at my point of entry here, 176.63. If we break below 176.55, that would be a lower low, and also where I entered that earlier long, that's where I'm out. We give this 10 pennies, and we're taking little pieces along the way, like a little, rat nibbling on cheese as we get close to that 176.80 area. I don't like to be in stocks near new high of days, so we'll see if I have a piece of the dream there. But I also I tried to plan a little bit better for this one, because this first trade, I took a really small position, and I knew I was living the second we got close to that earlier high. Today, or not today, it's the same day, this trade, we're going to be a little bit more cautious about what we're doing. But also, I think I'm going to let this apple pie cook while we go over our lesson du jour.
Oh, what a segue, baby. I like it. Okay.
I saw the segue. I was like, I'm going to take it. Also, best of happy trade with that Mara.
Hopefully.
Beautifully. And also, that looks kind of rangy, actually, so I might have to visit her later.
Okay.
Visit that. But all Apple and Mara's aside, we will be taking a look. Oh, I like that. To the moon.
Ooh.
But yeah, let's chat right now about the measured. Oh.
I didn't.
The first time, I don't know who did it.
I think it was Ram. Blame Ram.
I like that. But yeah, Baby's just amused there in the corner.
That's a nice toque you have on there, Ram. Who got you that toque? And what? Just approximately, what is the cost of that toque, Ram? She knows. Go ahead.
Good times. But yeah, also good times are the measured move pullbacks. You want to talk about basic support and resistance pullbacks? We've been talking about these. These are great, but what happens when you want a more precise entry point? This is where you're going to talk about the measured move pullback, and that's going to be where you're seeing these Fibonacci retracement levels and letting those guide your way. Thank you so much, Steph B, as well, for the support in the chat. I really, really appreciate it. It's very, very kind of you, everybody. I really appreciate everything here. But I also appreciate these Fibonacci and golden ratios. Imagine a line, basically, when you're going to talk about the basics of this ratio, a line segment divided into two parts, such that the ratio of the whole segment to the longer part is equal to the ratio of the longer part to the shorter part. So this is the golden ratio, which is roughly 1.618. And that's a concept found in nature and used by Fibonacci. So if you look here, you can kind of see how all of these lines are interconnected, right? So there's a lot of Fibonacci ratios in real life that you can find in numbers, but you can also find them in trading. Fibonacci's in trading. These Fibonacci retracement levels are based on the golden ratio and other fib numbers, and they're popular in technical analysis because they represent potential areas where price retracements might end and the trend might resume. Someone earlier was mentioning, oh, do you know if we can use these with currencies? This is actually an example of the Australian dollar to the Japanese yen. And as you can see here, we had this big move up here. Look at this resistance we see at the 0.236 fib level. Then we kind of hang out a couple times around that 0.38, right? We come back into the 0.26, we push above, then we again on the other side, so resistance becoming support on this level, then coming back down, having a little bit of a bounce off that 0.5 fib a couple times and hanging at around 0.38. So a bit of more detailed analysis, but this is one chart that I think is a cool example and also a Forex example. Let's talk about identifying the measured move pullback. So first you want to look for a strong move. Identify a strong price move in the direction of the trend. So if we're already moving up and you have a push up, that's what you want. If you're moving down to the downside, you have a push down. That might also be what you're looking for. You also want to draw your Fibonacci retracement levels now that you've identified this, right? So draw your fib levels. The common ones are going to be 38.2, 50, or 61.8. Draw these on your chart, starting from the move starting point and ending at its end point. And I do have a fun little diagram that has an example of that, but that's going to be coming near the end of this presentation. You also want to talk about the pullback dance. Shout out to Sharif there. Instead of the wick shimmy dance or the fib shimmy dance, as Sharif was, or as not Sharif, Fabian was mentioning in the ear, you call it the fib shimmy dance.
Yes.
As long as they're not lying to you, the levels. So Fabian always killing it with the puns there.
Can I just interrupt?
Please
Mara's
do.
pumping here into 2090. We're breaking up above that key resistance level. So if you're in this trade on Mara, I don't know if you want to wet your beak right now or look for that 21 move, but Mara moving up. Sorry, thank you. Oh.
Oh, it's the stock AI.
Ah, okay. What is that? Ram? Woodstock AI. There it is. Okay. Well,
I love that.
that should be super interesting once it actually happens. Something tells me that's probably going to be real.
Oh, yeah. I'm positive. But yeah, I thought that was, thank you, Ramin, for that innovation. Also, shout out to you. I will say it for you for that Mara trade. Pamp it. Pump. But yeah,
Thank you.
Shout out. That's an awesome trade. And very out of the range now, too. So basically, once you have your strong move and you've drawn your fib retracements, you're going to do that. Oh, yes, sorry, we already did that one. Now we're doing the pullback dance. So I'm going to pull back to the slide we're actually on. The pullback dance. Once you have your lines all drawn out, you want to watch for the price to retrace against the trend. Does the pullback find support around one of the fib retracement levels? And you're going to be mostly looking for 38.2%, 50%, or 61.8%. If it does, that could be a potential measured move pullback. So, we want to talk about as well. These aren't always going to come into fruition, right? Much like pivots. But if they do, it's something you want to talk about.
Dang, no, I'm
I thought
agreeing
you
with
had something
you.
for Mara.
I'm agreeing with you. Yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate that. So 50% retracement. Here's an example. We had this big bullish thrust, this move up. We were already kind of in an uptrend, and this move up was like, hey, pay attention to me. Then it came back, pulled back, chilled out. Look at this little doji in the 50% zone. Then we jump back up. So this is a nice look there for this AMD chart. Cool look there. Also, Apple pulled back a bit, so we'll have to deal with her in a bit, but that's all good. Entering the trade is also a really important thing to keep in mind now that you have drawn your fibs and you're ready to go. If you're going long, you want to wait to see a pullback in an uptrend, reaching a Fibonacci retracement level, especially if it's these lower levels like 38.2 or 50%. That, bless you, might be a good buying opportunity if you're going to go long. Now, going short, if you're in a downtrend pullback, you want to see this pullback reach a retracement level, and that might be a good opportunity to sell short. So if you're entering the trade in the long, here's an example. We come up, we're kind of chilling out, we're hanging out, then we come back to this 0.618 level, 61% level, which is also where we had some movement earlier. This fib is a sign that we might rip, and indeed we do at this level. GPB, this is another example of Forex too. Great British Pound to USD, my example on the short side. We come to the downside, then we come up to this fib level, pull back. That was the this 50 level. Then we pull back again at 38.2 level. One more time for the people in the back at 23%, right? So this to me is a really interesting example because it shows you there's multiple opportunities if you were involved in this trade to get it on the back end and get it on the pullbacks. There we go. Exiting the trade is also really important to note. This is going to be pretty similar to the basic pullback. Just look for the price to break above resistance in an uptrend or below support in a downtrend to make your exunt stage left. Pro tip also worth noting here, this is when Fibonacci extensions, and these are kind of more of an optional tip, but Fibonacci retracement levels can also be used for potential profit targets. After entering based on a pullback to a retracement level, some traders are going to look to exit when they see the price reaching a Fibonacci extension level, which is going to be above the starting point in uptrends or below in downtrends. And here's an example we have of this too. So this was also, shout out to Connie Brown, who is a CMT, and I found this is just her research she did. I think she wrote a book. But what was cool is she said it's easier, instead of drawing them when you see the break of the trend, draw when you see the start of the new trend. And so shout out to Connie Brown, because these levels are really cool. I like that, we have the break to the downside. That's also where we see the support and resistance here. It happens to be on Fib. So Confluence Nation over here on Connie Brown's charts. Again, don't know this lady, but I really like this chart. I think it's a really cool point.
I wonder if the NOS boss knows her. He knows a lot of CMTs. It's not a big group of
it makes
people,
sense.
right?
I went to the website once. It's actually really cool.
Well, on
the CMT website.
Yeah,
and it's neat too, because you actually have to know a couple in order to get recommendations.
Yes,
and that's how you go through.
Exactly. You need 2 recommendations.
Right? So it's a little tight-knit community, which is neat. But also neat as our bonus tip. You might want to imagine this Fibonacci retracement levels as potential resting points, breathing areas for the price during a pullback. The measured move pullback strategy is going to help you catch these pauses before the trend makes its resumption. And with the measured move pullback, you can leverage your Fibonacci retracements for more precise entry points during pullback, as shown by some of those little diagrams.
Fantastic.
How are you? I'm sure you have a story to tell here.
I took everything out at 85s, and then it obviously, Adara moved into 96s. That's just the way it goes. But I'm happy with the trade on Mara. I'm happy because, not because it didn't make a lot of money. Let's just put that right out there. It's not. It was very small share size. But I followed my plan, and I was patient. I waited for the level to come in. I didn't chase it at the times when I had the inclination to chase it, and I guess that's kind of good, right? So little progress every day, nothing to really write home about, but a nice check mark to have beside your name on the day. All right, let's see what's next, baby. I saw Chef Joe there talking about AMD, our friend AMD, and what the hell is keeping it up, because it looked awfully weak. And right when we started talking about AMD possibly starting to make higher highs and higher lows, and how this could actually be an interesting retracement into the volume-weighted average price, you get a big boy red candle like that breaks this whole higher low, higher low, higher low trend, and right back into the 174. I think we got into 174 and a third on that last descent yet again. So to me, it looks like somebody's very interested in AMD at this general 174 area, okay? Now, I haven't looked at the book. I wasn't watching the tape. I'm just making that assumption based on the price action and these bottoming tail candles that keep getting bought up. So we'll see if we get a flat bottom break. Obviously, there's that 174.24 LOD, but really the line in the sand is going to be the whole dollar level at 174. So we'll see if this one makes its way down. It's about 8 pennies away from that level now. To go green on the day, just for your information, we got to break above 181.50. The high of day is 182.68, but that was the IB high right at the open. We never really hung out at that price level anyway. So AMD doing its thing. I think you're going to like DWAC. I don't want to force you to trade this, but like, look at this. It's really ranging here, Adara. Look at this range. So that now we have. I might look at putting a dip trade into this. I don't want to influence you, and then you have a losing trade on that. I feel like you know what. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, don't. It's okay.
I'm probably gonna jump in this with you, so I don't feel as bad about it.
Don't do it for that. Do it because you want to do it.
No, I do like this trade. Okay. $43 to the low side. Doesn't seem like we have anything below 43 on a closing basis. We do have wicks below it, but not on a closing basis. And then 44, again. Everything really kind of closing below 44, saving except for these two over here. And when you look at it on the 10 or 15, that's going to be a wick. It's not going to be a close. Like this, oh, well, that made me look silly. I thought that it would look more like a wick, maybe on the 30.
Yeah,
there you go. And on the 30, it looks like a wick. Okay, so I saved myself a little bit there. But yeah, okay, so maybe we'll look to set up a nice dip trade here on DWAC at 43 again. We don't really have a reason why this is moving, assuming it has something to do with Trump in the primaries yesterday. I'll tell you, he won a bunch of different primaries yesterday. I'm just not sure which ones. 1 second. So he always posts about them, so it's easy to know. He won Arizona. He won Kansas, Illinois, Florida, and Ohio. I guess those were all on the table yesterday. I didn't know there were 5 different primaries, but he won 5 of them, I guess maybe. That's why we're moving up here, because I don't have another catalyst for DWAC. Rumble is doing nothing. We had eyes on Rumble earlier, but that was doing nothing. Yeah, let's flip back to some of these charts over here. So Apple rejecting that 176 3/4, now coming down below 176 1/2 into 40 penny territory here. So a bit of a top, let's say at the $0.75 for Apple, and now coming in, let's see where support could be. Well, it's going to be around that 176 1/4 area, but that's not a great level either. So I'm going to leave Apple alone here. Let's see what else is popping off. Meta, okay. Meta getting a nice pop-up. We had a nice trade on Meta earlier for a $1 banger. And now, look at this, up again near that consolidation area high. How many times are we going to reject off here? We had the first rejection, 1120. Then we got several at this 499, excuse me, $0.25. We haven't been above 499 $0.25 since this candle over here, or at around 10:30. So we had higher lows earlier, then that broke with this trading area over here. Now we're putting in higher lows again. So this is a range trade galore. I mean, we expected this. Neil said this on the morning show. I think Sean said it as well. I'm not sure that we were likely to have an inside day because of the Fed, and that the market would range a little bit above, a little bit below, until we got Papa on the mic at 2:30. In case you're wondering who I'm talking about, it's Jerome Powell, obviously the Fed chair. The FOMC meeting ends today. There he is. Oh, that's Warren. Come on, Warren. Dang it, Warren. There he is. I saw an Instagram post of him coming out of a Suburban, like one of those big black, like FBI-looking Suburbans.
Oh my God!
And the caption was, "The most powerful man on the planet?" ? I wouldn't call him that, right? I don't know about that.
Well, he has
Say the U.S. president probably a little bit stronger than him.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, he moves the markets.
He can get
power over
fired
the
by
market.
the U.S. president.
I did know that,
him,
actually.
Yeah. And Trump fought with him a little bit in 2019, I think, 18. He was raising rates.
Yeah, no, their relationship was kind of interesting. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Biden kept them, which was interesting because there was others. So I don't know if you know that. There was another Fed chair who ended up being, I believe she's in the Biden administration now, Lael Brainerd.
Oh, okay.
She was being considered to replace Papa Powell, and he ended up sticking with Papa. Yeah. And he put Lael in his, I think, economic council cabinet. So she's definitely still, big boy, or big girl in her case. Anyway, what are you looking at over there?
Yeah, I guess they decided to close the door on the opportunity for another. I need to stop using that joke, but I really did enjoy that moment. Microsoft, there's some kind of range happening here. I need to watch this for longer, but I love this 422.60 area. Hence, I actually forgot I was in this long earlier. We scalped this with a decent amount of size, so I was pretty happy with this trade, I'm not gonna lie. Look at this area though, and it's also below the 9 EMA. If we reject, I think we might be getting into this short. I don't know why I said it so weirdly, but I do like this idea of this trade. My only issue is I don't really know what my stop would be on this. Probably like 85s. You know what? I want to take this. I'm going to stop thing and hawing over it. Like, oh, will I take it? Will I take it? I'm going to take it. We're going to get out in at 62s. Should Microsoft give me the pleasure of reaching that 62 area. Also, what's been really confusing to look at is AMD. I know we've been talking ad nauseum about AMD, but AMD has been such a strange one. This is always really fun too when you get out of a stock and then it goes the way the second you get out. That's okay. It is what it is. They don't care about your feelings. You just got to take the hit and move on. If AMD stays below this 9 EMA, though, and I know you mentioned that exponential moving average as well for AMD, I think that could be interesting. I still think we could go either direction on AMD, though, because this chop and churn, this support around 174.75 is, in a word, bamboozling. And a little bit concerning if you want to go long, but it's also a flat bottom, so it's concerning if you want to go short. So either way, I think it might just be a perpetual state of being vaguely concerned. The only way I would take this is if I scalp pennies on it, which honestly I have no qualms about doing. I might do that. But also Microsoft, I don't think we're going to be getting that dip buy or dip sell in this case because we're going to go short. But I'm not taking it off the table because I think Microsoft's been pretty docile today. I think we can let that run. Also, we got out of Apple. I was trying to get out of that 176.55. Then we ended up getting about 176.54. Didn't take much of a hit on that. honestly a little bit negative on this day now because I took this one with more shares than I took this first move up, but that's okay. And honestly, like I said, I'm not a momentum trader, so this is always going to be a bit more of a risk, but I'm really proud that I tried doing it.
Good for you.
Thank you, especially to your high of day, because me taking a trade in your high of day, that is not the type of thing I like doing, and that's also why AMD gives me a little bit of chills there, because it's a little bit of a scary move.
Yeah.
It's not really my type of vibe. Also, the Microsoft short was valid, but I was not invited into the party, so that's okay. We tried to get, I might have been a little bit too aggressive trying to get 62s on this. I should have been fine with 59s, but that's okay. Microsoft was like, nah, Dara, wait till the next one.
It's on its
so
way
you know
down
what?
now.
It's going way down. But you know what, Microsoft? That I will. I will wait until the next one, because as Obi says, where's the next trade?
Yes, sir. Or ma'am.
Yeah, I don't know. This honestly, AMD scalping this for pennies might be my best bet right now. Eli Lilly has had quite the little journey, but she's still well below a milli. I will pull it up though, because from a chart perspective, I find it interesting. And no, Adara, you can't trade this because it's below a milli, so that'll be how I stop myself from getting involved in this. But look at this interesting move. We have this massive quadunc here, to borrow a word that's used quite a lot in this show, and very rarely by me. Not seeing any news obesity drugs would cost us more than anticipated savings, says the Congressional Budget Office. Is that when we got this drop? Yes, it is. So
Really? I have trouble believing that.
that's
What kind of study? Okay, whatever.
that's what they said according to Bloomberg. So whew, that
Very interesting.
massive move down, and the largest volume candle by a lot on
Why?
Lilly
So
today.
like they wouldn't cover it like under the government plan?
I guess
What
the
does the headline
congressional.
say?
It says Bloomberg citing Congressional Budget Office, obesity drugs would cost us more than
Wow.
anticipated savings.
Very interesting.
But yeah, giving that one a massive move to the downside, trying to recover. Lowest we got there on a wick basis was 756.68. Lowest we got on a closing basis, 758. Highest we got on the day here, though, was going to be a 774.50. So nice look there for Miss Lilly. She's trying to recover. She's still below VWAP right now. I think there's some kind of range opportunity, but it's not for me, Lilly, because you're below a milli. So there we go. Yes, I am talking to a stock, giving her a stern talking to. Also, Microsoft, if you pick up, they're at this range low of 422.20. You better believe I'm getting involved. This is the range I was talking about earlier today. You know, I was just at Microsoft, like you didn't invite me to join the party, and now it's coming back here. I don't know why I'm talking like I'm in an old movie, but Microsoft is bringing something out of me. And I think we might have to trade this. We also might have to say hi to AMD.
And I want to talk about Meta again here, Adara, because we kept talking about this 499.25 being a key area of resistance, at least on the day, and it held. Wasn't without bamboozlement though. So if you had your stop at even like 499.5, you got stopped out, because that's what the bamboozling is all about. It went all the way up to 499 and 2/3. So if you're basing your level off that 499.25, giving yourself a little bit of room, it looks like the stop hunters got you a little bit there. But the range, we're still at the top end of the range. Okay, but I wouldn't expect, personally, I'm just talking about myself, I wouldn't expect a move down unless a catalyst-driven move down, and the Fed could be a catalyst, into that 496.25, which was where we obviously have a bottom over here and multiple times over here. How long did this one last? 12:05 to what? 12:35, half an hour of holding that 496.25, which is the closing print on Meta. That's not out of nowhere. I don't know if we see that again, because we're putting in higher lows. In fact, I think, there's a better chance we probably hit 500 than we hit 496.25. Anyway, the range trade on Meta is still printing, but again, if you had your stop loss 50 pennies, 60 pennies away from the entry, it looks like you got stop hunted there, and that's a bit of a tough look because you try to base it off levels. Now, so Meta is trying to do its thing. I want to look at Tesla, though. And the reason I want to look at Tesla is because we're also putting in some higher lows on Tesla here, but we also have that lower highs. But if we get above 173.50, this could be very interesting on Tesla, right? I mean, it's without a catalyst on the day, or it does have a catalyst in that they're raising prices in China. I don't think that that's having as much of an effect. We're up 1%. It's the strongest name in the Mag 7s today. The second name behind Tesla right now is Meta, up 0.5%. And then Softy at 0.25. So TSLA here, if this can get above 173.50, we're going to want the smoke here, right? Because then it'll be a higher low, and then we're going to get a higher high here. So we'll see on Tesla. Katina Man, you're still in the Tesla trade? The Katina Man is still in that Tesla trade at 171.85. Obviously, you know, well over $1 in the money at the moment on TSLA. So we'll look to see what we get here at 173.50. Let's look at some other stuff. Softy. Okay, so we just finished saying Softy's up 0.25%. Well, look where Softy's finding support. Surprise, surprise, the volume weighted average price. Now, it's not giving you much in the way of room. So if you're getting in at Softy at the lower end of the range, if you're punching 422.10, 422.20, in and around there, you're getting like decent moves of 40, 50 pennies, right? So look how when this one moved up to 422 and 2/3. This one is at the $0.50. So Softy, even though it's positive on the day, it's above the volume weighted average price, it's not giving you that kind of, you know, $4 or $5 banger move, but we'll keep eyes on it. If it's the only thing to trade, it's the only thing to trade. One thing we haven't talked a whole lot about, and I'm not really surprised about this, is the NQ. You want to see a range trade? Look at the NQ. Yeah. The NQ has been absolutely ranging it there with that 18,250 to the bottom or thereabouts, to that 50-point level. And then to the high side, you know, we couldn't really make it up to 300 most of the time. It's been more of like a 90s, 8290, sorry, top, give or take. You've had, obviously, wicks here and there. But the future ranging, as expected. Jerome Powell, it will be on the mic in exactly 55 minutes from now. He takes to the mic at 2:30. He's I don't want to say never. He's not usually late. We do find out about the interest rate decision in exactly 25 minutes. It's widely anticipated that it's going to remain the same. Maybe we hear about the upcoming cuts. I know for certain is we're getting a new dot plot. And so we're going to have something to compare. We're going to have the new dot plot, the March dot plot, to compare the December dot plot. And if you looked at the December one, it was widely, it was consensus amongst the members that there were going to be 3 rate cuts this year. The market, for whatever reason, decided that it was going to take that 3 and multiply it by 2. And there was a certain point that we had 6 rate cuts priced in. And obviously, you know, that got rethought because of the 2 inflation prints that came in higher than expected. I'm talking about January and February. January 1, we tried to say maybe there was some seasonality to it, a lot of spending during the holiday season, this, that, and the other. That wasn't accounted for by the economists. But what do you say to the February one? I mean, people are not buying Christmas presents in January. So, yeah, some unusual economic data there, but we'll have to wait and see what we get from the Fed today. All right, let's look at some of these TKO we were talking about earlier. This one is ranging as well after that big boy move. They settled with their UFC fighters to the tune of about $1/3 billion. $350 million settled here with some of the former fighters of Ultimate Fighting Championship. And this precipitated that move up off that 81.5 print and popped up into about 86.5, and we've been ranging plus or minus 50 pennies since that time. AAPL, this is the IPO. This is the 1-minute look on the IPO. We have an exact top of 60. Now, here, we had a top earlier at 56.5, thereabouts. Look at this over here. See how we round a top, and then we ended up breaking it, as Adair would say, with the viciousness. Now we're coming back into 57, 56.1/3, 56.75. Does resistance, former area of resistance, now act as support? Is 57 along, 57 or thereabouts, along right now on AAPL? Looks good, right? Popped up into 58, but what you're not seeing is a 32 penny spread, which makes it very difficult to manage risk, especially on a prop floor where you have to account for somebody else's money. So let's see exactly what we get here on AAPL, but it does look like that 57, 56.75 acting as a good area of support now for a possible move up. 60 though, definite resistance.
Yeah, only 7 minutes left here because we are wrapping up early so that we can. Yeah, I just heard there in my ear. But yeah, so we can have, as some people were saying in the chat, Fed watch party. So that is what will be happening there. Here with everybody. Yeah, this is that TKO range is really interesting, but I really did think it was going to be more of a short because I know you were talking about that curl down in TKO. I was kind of seeing that and I was like, this could be more of what's happening. But yeah, this one is it's interesting. I feel like the range is almost the spread's not bad. It's about 6 cents. It's much better than VWAP, and the VWAP spread was why I had to say like no. But yeah, mostly I have to manage my Microsoft. This is another case of missing my exit by literal pennies. And by this, I mean we were going to get out at 422.50 or 422.57 or 422.58. We get to like 422.57. I say grr because we did not get out. But if we hold up above this 422, which I don't think we will, I'm going to stay in. I did get some of this out at 422.50. Should have been a bit scalpier, but you know what? Coulda, woulda, shoulda. That's okay. We had a trade. We're happy with the trade. I don't know why I'm clapping so much, but these markets always do leave me very energized and enthusiastic. This day feels like it flew by in anticipation for La Fed.
Absolutely, Adira, and lots of unanswered questions right now. I was just talking to Magic Mike in the chat, and he was asking me for my look on the future because I really haven't mentioned the future all that much today. And I mentioned it to you just a second ago before you were dropping hot lines there. And look, Magic Mike, 18,250 to the downside, thereabouts. I mean, it doesn't always make it down into that 50-point level, but it's that general area. And then that 90-point level. How many times do we have to rinse and repeat this range? There's going to be bamboozlement, though. So that's what makes it sometimes tougher to trade these very predictable range trades. As we saw on Meta, that $quarter dollar, excuse me, you got bamboozled. And even if you gave it 25 pennies, even if you gave it a little bit more, ended up stopping you out. And then look, right back down goes Meta, gives you a couple of bucks off that level. 498 breaks. We're at VWAP, but that range trade has been rinsing and repeating on Meta. And I want to say that it feels that same way on the future. All right, we just touched 18,250 on the future. So this is that level. This is the low end of the range. We should hold up at this level if we're going to trade it, but bamboozlement coming in. There goes the 50-point level. Look for a possible hold here. There we go, right above it we go again. So keeping your eyes on this obvious horizontal move on the NQ June contract. What's wrong, Neil? Neil covered the short on ALAB and it was printing. And down into 56 we go again. Well, bro, I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on the future. I love this 50-point range. I don't know how you feel about this range. I know you don't. You're not really into the future. Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I don't see you trading the futures all that much.
It's a nice look, though.
Yeah, it's super rangy,
That's beautiful.
right? Like it's crazy rangy.
I'm gonna pull that up in my chart so I can salivate over it in a larger scale. Yeah, no. This is a nice look. So my only qualm with this is I like ranges that will I know how long it's going to take me to get where I'm going. I don't like these little stop and starts, right? Like to me, there's a lot of pausing, a lot of hemming and hawing in this futures chart, right? That being said, I actually would have, and I'm a little upset I didn't look at this because I saw this on your side chart and I should have said something, but this 438.40 thereabouts up into 439 it's beautiful. It's a really nice look. So that's on me for not taking that. I think this one might have to have a permanent home on my side chart. Maybe he'll be kicking off Lily. I don't know. But you know what else was really rangy that I avoided for a while was NVIDIA. We had basically all day an 886 to 884 range, but I stayed away, or not all day, mind you, but when we fell into that range, we fell into it pretty nicely. I have to say I'm pretty proud. I think all the trades here were successful with the exception of this one long here. But also, I had to stay away from NVIDIA after a certain point because as I explained in a bit of a rambly way, because it was quite the trade, there was an issue with getting out of this. It wouldn't let me leave. And so it ended up working out in my favor, but it's also a little bit hard to be celebrating a trade that was better than it should have been because of the market magic, you know what I mean? The same thing happened to me though on the wrong end for Microsoft. We had an order ready to leave at 422 and it would not let us leave. I was like, come on, we should have been fine and we weren't. But you know what? A new dawn, new day.
There you
We're
go.
going to be feeling good. Shout out to Miss Nina Simone. What are you looking at heading into the afternoon?
I'm looking at a lab here because I'm fixated at this $56 level. That is until it breaks away from it or breaks below it. I'm looking for that former area of resistance to act as support, and we don't have a lot off which to work. And I realize that, guys. I know that I'm looking. I could be very selective in my view here. That we do have an obvious crest, in my opinion, at that 56, and then looks like we're getting some candles bouncing off $56 at the moment. But I want to mention what Kevin Mendoza said. Jerome Powell doing burpees before the big speech. He wants to be able to close the door all on his own there. So make sure no, but for real though, if you're into this whole Fed thing, Jerome Powell will be on live 2:30. He takes questions from all the reporters, and you know, whether he answers them or not is kind of like a different story. But it's a no holds barred for them. They ask him what they want, and you know he can dance around it in so many different ways. So we'll be looking to see what he says about inflation and rates going forward. But we'll also have a lot of eyes looking out there, and Brenda will definitely have it for us on the dot plot to see what committee members as a group are projecting for Fed rate decisions, because the market, you know, lives and dies on these rates, right? So we'll have to wait and see. About 1 minute left on the show. Adair, I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I've always, I agree. I've always learned a lot. You always get a lot of insight from those Q&As.
Absolutely.
Right now, you're going to be getting insight from Brendan, Sean, and Neil. We'll see you tomorrow. Same bad time, same bad channel. But Brendan is at the big desk, guys.
See you guys.
Hey guys, you have 15 minutes to go here before we get, let's be honest, nothing. No change is going to come through at 2